Welcome back, everyone. And this week on 4K Kings, we're going to be discussing some Tarantino 4K announcements. Titans of Cult is releasing The Thing. We've got Maverick coming in 4K, Criterion and Kino news. Lost Boys gets alternative art, thank God. And you need to subscribe to us. It's your duty.
And we're back. Welcome back, Russ.
Welcome back, Matt.
To another week at Blu News Reviews. Thank you for everyone for joining. Everyone that's new, everyone that's old. We really appreciate you stopping by and hanging out with me. Again, I'm Matt and this is Russ. And if you haven't been here before, we are your 4K Kings covering mainly physical media news.
Mainly.
But movies as well and just other things that we find interesting. And we know that there's a lot of other channels you could be watching, but you're here watching this. So what's that say about you? I don't know, but really appreciate you being here. Last week, we gained a ton of Heat subscribers. Thank you so much for everyone that joined our channel as a result of our Heat video and our Heat comparisons. Welcome.
I do want to point out, there was a bit of a debate going on in the comments. So for anyone watching, I just want to make it abundantly clear, like, we are always correct.
Always. Don't ever forget that. And last week we also, or not last week, but don't forget, we also have our Drive box set, giving it away.
Once we hit 2K subs, and it's getting close, as you said, we had massive growth over the past week.
Yeah, up in the tens.
Heat is the gift that keeps on giving.
Thank you, Heat.
Thank you, Al Pacino, and your cocaine-fueled portrayal.
And I did want to say too that over the last couple of weeks, but mainly maybe just the last in between the last time we recorded, I feel like there's been a lot of really nice comments that people have been putting on our videos, and a lot of things that people have been saying that I feel like has been very supportive and encouraging.
Honestly, the joke I just made, that it was a joke.
Yeah.
Even that person, it wasn't that bad.
No,
honestly,
no, we welcome it.
We have
Please, roast us whenever.
Yes, we have a great community.
Yeah,
honestly.
100%.
Compared to I've seen so many chats go toxic so quick.
Yeah,
and I will say, the people who comment and participate on our page, good people.
Thank you.
I'm not
so
just
much.
saying that either.
No, I think it's awesome. And I really do appreciate anyone taking the time to do that. And we thank everybody for, like I said, sticking with us and hanging in there. And everybody that's new, again, welcome. Mm-hmm. So this week, Russ, we have a lot to cover yet again. We didn't even take a break, and there was a lot to cover. So there is Blue and 4K news from Titans of Cult, who was kind of dormant for a minute there. Kino Lorber, Arrow, Criterion, and of course, Real Genius in 4K, Friday the 13th 4K, and Blowout in 4K. They're all getting released over the next few weeks. We'll be discussing those films in a little bit of detail.
310 to Yuma as well. Although
310 to Yuma.
We won't be discussing, but I think it's an honorable mention. I'll be picking it up. I pre-ordered that Steelbook.
I know, it looked nice.
It did. I never owned it. I never even owned it on Blu-ray. I only had it on DVD.
Yeah, it looked really nice. But yeah, no, definitely. Honorable mention to 310 to Yuma. Awesome Steelbook. Definitely pick that up. But I feel like some of the hottest news of the week is, something that just kind of came out of nowhere. And that is a pair of Quentin Tarantino 4K announcements. The first one was Reservoir Dogs, but then a few days later, they announced that Pulp Fiction's also coming out in 4K.
Who's releasing them?
So the Pulp Fiction is getting released from Paramount, and Reservoir Dogs is being released by Lionsgate. So
I never thought about that. After Miramax fell apart, I know once upon a time he went to Paramount does Paramount have control of his back or Pulp Fiction at least?
Yeah, so currently Paramount owns, and I guess they took a lot of this over from Miramax, was Kill Bill 1 and 2, Jackie Brown, and Pulp Fiction.
So we're getting Jackie Brown and Kill Bill pretty soon.
You
might get your whole bloody affair in 4K.
I mean, I was going to
Paramount they may have been listening to you for the past 20 years.
Or maybe in the last couple of years we've had this channel, they finally wised up and heard the voice of the people. But yeah, so it was kind of speculated, though, that they would be released on their anniversaries because the Reservoir Dogs one is a 30th anniversary, and then Pulp Fiction's announced like 5 days later. And so it was like, oh, well, maybe Jackie Brown's anniversary, they'll put this out, and maybe such and such anniversary, they'll put that out. But now, all of a sudden, it's like...
We're going to be in 16K by the time Kill Bill's anniversary
I know,
comes
I've kind
around.
of given up on that. But Lionsgate has Hateful Eight, Django Unchained, Reservoir Dogs, and Death Proof. And then Universal's got Inglourious Bastards, and Sony's got Once Upon a Time. So it's kind of spread all over the place, all of his movies.
Good luck with a box set.
Well, I know. Let's
You're never going to get a Tarantino box.
I know. Let's talk about these. I want to come back to that. I do. I wanted to talk about that. That's all I've ever wanted, and you know that. But so Pulp Fiction, it's coming out sooner than Reservoir Dogs, but there's less information about it. It's just kind of a rumor for now, although like two different websites, it was importcds.com and Bull Moose or something. They both have pre-orders up for a regular edition and a Steelbook edition, UPC codes, like the whole deal. And you know, it's a movie that's been released a bunch of times up to this point. I forgot about this little guy that I had. Oops. I don't know. You probably had the same one. This DVD. Mm-hmm. Dude, this DVD, because I have this on Blu-ray too, and it's like a nice little slip box. It says, or slip case. It just says Tarantino approved or something. But this DVD, let me see if I can get this thing out.
Well, you remember that and Jackie Brown debuted on the same day on DVD with these special editions.
They did,
and they both had the similar slipcase.
Yeah, and this thing is still in pristine condition.
It is cool. I love that
I mean
set.
it's an awesome like digipack that had a really cool like slide outer box with a little booklet on it or whatever. I don't know. I just remember this and thought it was really cool. Yeah. So this will be 4K release number 3. Reservoir Dogs will be 4K release number 4. Because Once Upon a Time is already out in 4K, and so is Inglourious Bastards at this point. So now you've got Pulp Fiction, and now you've got Reservoir Dogs. The Reservoir Dogs one's out November 15th, and the Pulp Fiction one's out November 1st. So for Reservoir Dogs, that's Lionsgate. It's its 30th anniversary. That's why I guess that's what they're putting on there. Again, no information on really anything as far as like the transfer or the features or whatever. But again, this one's been released plenty of times too. Do you remember the DVD release that you got when it was all the different colors?
I had Mr. White.
You got Mr. White?
Of course, everybody wanted Mr. Blonde.
That's
and it was gone. I remember going to Best Buy. That was back then when retail chains sold movies.
Yep.
And I believe the only one they had left was Mr. White, which I wasn't. It's Harvey Keitel. I'm not mad.
Two places I went to, all they had left was
and
Mr.
if I
Pink.
recall, I was about to say, if I recall correctly, you had Mr. Pink.
I had to get Mr. Pink because
Why
that's all
Mr.
that was
Pink?
left. Well, that's all they had left, all right?
I was setting up the joke for you to...
Don't worry, we'll get it in there.
Okay.
But yeah, so I had to get Mr. Pink, but I wanted Mr. Blonde or even Mr. White. And I remember Mr. Brown was kind of like a smaller run too because
Mr. Brown, they had a surplus of those editions.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, it was Tarantino. Yeah,
because it was Tarantino.
I'm thinking of who was the color of like the other older guy?
Mr. Blue.
Mr. Blue, thank you.
And then do you remember this? Did you have one of these?
Yeah, I still have that.
I found this in my stash too. I was like just trying to remember like what I already had.
That release bugs the shit out of me.
It's such a strange it's a gas.
It doesn't
can.
make sense. Pull it out. I'll tell you why it doesn't make sense. Pull this edition out, man.
Tell me more.
What is this casing?
Oh, it's like a matchbook of Uncle Bob's Pancake House.
Okay, but you're in the gasoline case. What did Mr. Blonde use when he was trying to set the cop on fire? Did he use a book of matches?
No, he did not.
He used a Zippo.
He did.
That's always bugged me. Those are the ramblings of an anal collector.
Okay,
Matt.
all right, they are, and I can appreciate that. Russ. So
I'm a stickler.
No hard feelings.
The only other thing I would have accepted because it's Tarantino is just make that case be like a woman's foot. I would have accepted that.
A fleshy woman's foot.
And Tarantino would have bought every copy, and it would have been out of print on day one.
I actually don't know. From what I can tell, everyone is busting on the Reservoir Dogs Blu-ray, saying that it has a horrible transfer to begin with, and they're really excited about this restoration, whatever it might be.
I have Reservoir Dogs on Blu-ray, and I've watched it. I don't recall. I mean, I don't remember it having issues like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I had that because I have that box set that they put out on Blue when Django Unchained came out. So it's all of his movies up until that point. Even True Romance is in it. It was a cool set.
Is that's a 20th anniversary one with the two X's on it?
It's like, and him on the cover, like it's a gun, but it's the camera.
Well, I was going to say, when we were just talking about the box set earlier, first let me say this. I'm not buying either of these. Like, I'm not going to buy either of these movies, I don't think, because I am, much like a lot of people have commented, but maybe some won't care because it's Tarantino at this point, but I don't want to be double dipped on. And I feel like we all know that there will be a Tarantino something. And
I don't know.
And you said, I don't know, but what I was going to counter with is they already put something out with how many movies are in there?
But that was before Harvey Weinstein and all that stuff happened.
So you
and
don't
then all
think
the rights, as you just pointed out, went to all these different
So you don't think it's
studios.
even possible anymore?
If I mean, anything's possible, but if I
Yeah.
wouldn't count on it in the near future.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
let's not kid ourselves either. It's not like Tarantino is the kind of guy who loves coming. He's never done commentaries on his own movies. He doesn't like talking about his own. He'll talk all day about everyone else's movies.
Yeah.
But he never does commentaries. So what are they going to get more for Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs? I mean, this is probably it as far as at least as far as features go.
yeah.
I mean, you
that's
got to
true.
think about it. They would have milked that to death if they could have, since DVD came out. If Tarantino was up for it, to, hey, I'm going to come back and ramble like I do about every other movie, but he won't. So.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Spielberg won't do that either. He doesn't do commentaries about his own movies.
Yeah, I never considered what might end up on these things other than what had previously come before, which I will add is very good. Like the Pulp Fiction DVDs are stacked, and Tarantino's on there doing interviews, not doing commentaries, but he's explaining a lot of his process and how he wrote certain things. And I felt like it was very
But
informative.
even think about all that stuff that's stacked. It's mostly interviews from Khan or something. It's not like Tarantino sat down, from what I recall.
No, it was like him in a chair. Like I don't know if it was taken from something else or they did it for the feature. It was like 45 minutes long.
Maybe they did. Hey.
F you, Russ. But I guess what I'm saying is maybe I'm holding out for the box set. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. I don't know that I would buy all these. Let's say box set is never going to happen. Would I buy all of these in 4K at the end of it all? I guess I will, but I don't know. Just right now, I don't feel like cherry picking these ones that are coming out.
That's some repugnant shit.
I know. What do you think? Are you with it? Are you going to buy them as they come out? I didn't buy Inglourious Bastards.
So
I did buy Once Upon a Time, but that's because that's how it came out.
Yeah, same. And I got that nice huge box of Once Upon a Time. Given what I just said, I think I'll cherry pick which ones.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, I'm a fan of his earlier work more than his later work.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably will pick up Reservoir, Pulp, Jackie. I'll look at after that, I'll see what the releases are, what the artwork is, if there are new features, but I wouldn't hold my breath on a box set of all of these.
I think I would.
And then if you're a completist too, like, dude, think about it. You're not going to get Four Rooms. You're not going to get From Dusk Till Dawn, True Romance. I mean, shit, you could even throw Natural Born Killers in that category if you
Sin
wanted
City.
to. You could throw Sin City. He shot one scene in that
did.
movie. I mean, like, you're never... If it's specifically to scratch that itch that collectors have, I've always felt like just from experience. Did you ever get the Whole Bloody Affair?
No, but I've waited till this day. I'll
with,
wait a little
with
longer.
Tarantino, I've learned, like, nah, we're not gonna be Evil Deaded on this.
If Kill Bill 1 and 2
Well,
came
they're
out
gonna
in
try.
4K,
The studios are gonna try to.
I will give up. If Kill Bill 1 and 2 come out in 4K, I will give up.
You will just buy
and
Kill
I will
Bill.
buy them.
Yeah.
I will give up at that point.
Have you watched Kill Bill?
No,
since
not
the
one.
theatrical
Not
release?
one, just two.
Wow.
That's
That's dedication. Yeah.
I was gonna say that's dedication for sure.
Wow.
So I've waited this long, but
That's some gourmet shit.
the only other thing I can think about though is like, so Once Upon a Time came out in 4K and it was just like a nice little thing that the studio did. And Glorious Bastards came out, but they did all this fancy like 15 different box
Titans
set
of Cult
versions.
did it, didn't they?
No, it was Zavvi. It was surprise. So what I'm wondering is, what other editions are we going to get for this? Is it just going to be a basic steelbook, try to be classy? Or are they going to, like, this is Paramount we're dealing with here. Are we getting a slide down case? Like, what are we getting for Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs? Like the blood slide down over top of them walking on the white poster with the blood splatter. It's like that's the slide down case.
At least they didn't Paramount present us.
That's true.
Put out the Paramount Presents Reservoir Dogs, and then 2 months later, 4K.
Pulp Fiction should get a Criterion release, in my opinion. I mean, as far as the stature it has, if you can compare that to like some of these other ones, not maybe these more classic films, but like ones in its era.
If Criterion deals with De Palma, I agree with you.
I mean, what was that? What's that one with Lawrence Fishburne we were just talking about? Bill Duke?
Deep
Cover. Yeah, if Deep Cover can get a release, come on. Pulp Fiction can't. Give me a break. So anyway, so those have been announced, but no idea.
Larry was supposed to be Jules. He wrote Jules for Lawrence Fishburne.
Well,
if you guys didn't know that, he did.
Now you know. If you don't know, now you know. But we'll come back when we know more about these releases. I still don't know if I will pick any of them up, but that still remains to be seen. Let's see what happens. Let's see what kind of slide down, like Lionsgate too. They do those slide down plastic things too. We're just gonna have to find out how trashy they go.
Reservoir Dogs, I won't mind as much, but the poster for Pulp Fiction's iconic.
It
if
is.
You're
Don't fuck with that.
Yes, if you're going to fuck with it, you better bring your A game because there's no point in redoing it unless you really have something to add.
Right. I agree. Russ, did you also know that it was Zavvi's 13th birthday?
Of course, it's a national holiday. We had the day off.
Did you send them a card?
No.
And did you also know then?
Mark had to send me True Romance. I'm not sending them shit.
Did you also know then during their 13th birthday they put out a bunch of special releases for the fans? Lots of things that only Zavvi can.
Are these limited reprints or are they just limited reprints?
Yeah, they're the limited reprint style that we all have known to come and love. I mean, some people actually commented that they do like those. More power to you. But no, there was a teaser a little bit before this Zavvi's 13th birthday party announcement that The Thing was going to be released by Titans of Cult, and I started there was like little images floating around, no official announcement, but just, a blurry image of the box and maybe like a pin and what could it be, that kind of shit. So then finally Zavvi, when they said, hey, it's our 13th birthday, celebrate us, The Thing was one of the ones that got a release date on their website. It's also sold on Amazon in some other countries, but for Zavvi, they put it up for the 13th birthday.
Man, at this point, I refuse to rebuy The Thing unless it comes with the actual disease in it.
a little blood petri dish you can infect yourself with. Like
how many releases of The Thing are there across every VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, 4K? I want to add up how many actual releases of The Thing exist.
They got to keep giving it to you.
I bet it beats Evil Dead.
I mean, you could be right. We'd have to
think it does.
We'd have to do a count. We'd have to do a count on that, but I don't know. So this is coming out from them October 13th. Right in time for the Halloween holiday. And in case anyone didn't remember this, that Titans of Cult covers mainly Warner Brothers, MGM, Universal, and now they also just recently picked up Paramount stuff too. So they kind of have a lot of different studios under their belt. As far as this movie's concerned, again, it's probably just the same ass thing that came out like however many months ago.
Transfer-wise.
Same transfer, same, it might even, be all the same features. Like everything's the exact same. You're just buying the packaging from them. And at the time, their 4K release came with a regular version, a steelbook version, and a deluxe version as well. But now you're going to get your pins for everybody that missed out on the pins.
I want the disease.
Yeah. I actually, what I will say about this is that I don't mind. I think the outer box looks pretty good here. I feel like this might even be my favorite outer plastic box that they've ever done, because I actually think it does look like an ice block that's cracking. I think it looks kind of cool. I think most of the other ones I've despised.
Well, the only reason I don't like it is because it just reminds me of the remake.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Honestly, I feel like even the font, I like the old school font. I don't know.
That's not the old school font for The Thing on both.
On like the VHS cover and all that, isn't it more boxy and white?
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, this is the one where like the guy's like glowing.
Looks more, and if I may be incorrect, and I just associate it with the remake, but I'm pretty sure that font is what was used on the remake. And of course, they didn't. They just called it The Thing. And I love how all the releases of that remake have, like, the box is intentionally, I don't even know, was it Mary Elizabeth Winstead or something was in it? She's not on whoever's in it is not on the cover. So it's intentionally meant to confuse people into picking up Carpenter's classic.
Yeah, there's the boxy one, you're right.
Yeah. And like I said, that font, it just
bothers you.
It just,
okay.
I immediately think of the remake, or I guess I never watched it, but apparently I think they twisted it into being a sequel or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who cares?
I mean, they kind of made it a prequel to this movie, but it ended up being literally the same movie. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't mind it. I hear what you're saying though. I didn't really take that into account. And I don't mind the steel book either. I like black slick steel books. I feel like that looks good. Slid in there might look nice, but I think it looks decent. I don't know. Too.
Like honestly, it just doesn't it doesn't give me the feeling of what the movie gives me.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
That's all it is. You're right.
It's stylish.
If I just completely disassociate it from the movie I love, you're right. That's a cool box. That's a cool set. But
It's very modern.
it doesn't
a modern
give me, it doesn't give me the feeling of Wilford Brimley.
For $45.99, you ain't feeling Wilford.
No.
So did you know that this is also number 18 of theirs?
I thought they had way more than that.
No, so this is 18. And I feel like they hadn't been putting out too much this year. I felt like they were kind of a little slow. And when I was looking at it, I guess in 2020, they did 6 releases. In 2021, they did 7. And now this is number 4.
For this year?
For this year. Yeah, they did Casino Royale, The Matrix, and The Watchmen. And they do have some that are rumored for the remainder of this year, though. Gladiator, Casino, and Star Trek 2009. It's quite the lineup. If Titans of Cult ever switched over to hard boxes, I said this to you already, I feel like they could possibly win me back.
Yeah.
But I feel like that plastic shit is just, I'm not with it. Even if they found a way to insert the pins into the hard box, okay, cool. But they're not winning me back with this plastic. Like I think you called it a toy box, Russ?
Yeah, like an action figure box.
Something
That's
that
what
effect,
and it's that sharp. No, you know what the boxes for Titans of Cult are like? You ever bought a stapler or a pair of scissors and you can't open
Can't get
like
it out.
the plastic? That's how rigid, and I shouldn't even say rigid. That sounds complimentary. That's how sharp they are.
Yeah.
Like you are going to damage yourself trying to watch Clockwork Orange.
It is sharp. You're right.
Yeah.
You're
and
right.
like I said, all for what? For 2 pins?
For 2 pins.
I would rather spend $46. And like you said, if you like that artwork in a nice sturdy box,
Yeah.
get rid of the pins.
But just sell me the steel for 25, 29 even, and give me this as a second option.
That's what I ended up doing with Clockwork Orange. You remember
Yeah,
I destroyed that shell, and all I have is the steelbook now.
Yep.
And even that art was kind of goofy.
Yeah. Well, celebrate Zavvi's 13th birthday
Yeah,
by
happy birthday, Zavvi.
by being upset that you can't buy this because it's sold out. It's already sold out.
And I wonder why it keeps getting re-released.
Because there's somebody out there, some of you out there that have every release of the thing on
and
their shelf.
Yes, and that's what they do. They know this is a title that the people who love it, it's that type of love. You're going to collect everything about it, so they completely take advantage of their audience.
They screw you.
Or their consumer.
Yeah, they screw
base.
you. But Zavvi did maybe do one good thing.
What'd they do, Matt?
Maybe one good thing. And they're going to put out a release of a movie that I really do like a lot. And they're doing their, deluxe treatment and so forth.
I thought it was going to be Night and Day.
Oh, Night and Day, baby.
That's Warner, too.
That's
isn't
what's
it?
next.
Maybe that's in the pipeline.
That's what's next.
Cruise is on fire, too, Matt. Yeah.
I hope they start re-releasing all his stuff. October 17th on 4K is Ex Machina. And Zavvi's putting this out in their exclusive special edition 4K steelbook, but also a collector's edition that's got all the trimmings, all the usual postcards and pictures and booklets and
I
hard
like that
cases
mother
and
artwork.
all that kind of stuff. What do you like? What artwork?
The mother artwork.
Let me get my mouse over there. This one?
Need your glasses? Yeah. Reminds me of the cover of that one poster for
Darren
Aronofsky's mother.
Now I get you. I'm sorry, I kind of missed that. I kind of like the steelbook. I like how
it
it's
is
like
cool looking.
I like how it's both versions of her, and then this box set. I mean, I think looks pretty nice too. I like.
Is that it doesn't look plastic. That looks like an actual box.
This is a box. It's definitely
cool.
a hard.
That is nice. I like that.
You hear that, Titans of Cult?
Problem
The
solved.
4K Kings are dragging your name through the dirt. I'm sure you're shaking in your boots.
Just place your product in a box that's both practical.
Russ, it comes with a rigid outer slipcase to create a visually appealing display piece and keeps your discs protected. That's the Zavvi promise. Only at Zavvi.
Hold on. And I have a question for you, Zavvi, on your birthday. We have this in front of us now, the details. Oh, scroll back down.
Oh, yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
Why does it say writer and director Alex Garland and then 28 Days Later, Sunshine? I'm pretty sure those were Danny Boyle movies.
They were. He wrote them, but you're right.
Oh, he did?
He did.
I was unaware of that.
Yeah, he wrote both of those movies.
Right. Well, my joke failed.
It did, kind of, but you're right. It does say director, but he did not direct those movies. But you're right. Yeah, he did write them.
Zavvi's just full of bullshit.
Zavvi, you can never trust anything they're saying.
That is goofy. Imagine if, like, 28 Days Later special edition, it's like from writer-director Alex Garland.
Yeah,
Here comes Train Spotting.
I agree with you. I agree. I don't know. I think it looks pretty good. I mean, it looks
cool.
I mean, I think it looks decent. It comes with like a schematic of the robot, of the AI. And it looks like a little pouch. I commented to Everything Blue, And I said, this set looks incredible. Is this another Everything Blue collaboration? And they replied back and they said, no, not this time. I was like, man, if it was, I'd be even more interested in picking this up.
Like if it was, we're going to start kissing their asses up and down. We want a free copy.
Give me that free copy. No.
No, that is a really, I have a question for you.
Yes.
I've never seen it.
Never seen it.
Should I blind buy this?
I wouldn't, for you, I would not say blind buy this ultra amazing edition, because if you don't like it, perhaps you just spent $52 in shipping. If you didn't like the Steelbook, I mean, you've only wasted that much money. I wouldn't say blind buy it, though. I don't know for you. I'm not sure.
I always heard good things.
I mean, it's really good. I feel like it's smart, intelligent science fiction. I really like Alex Garland a lot as a writer. I feel like this is probably known as his strongest work. Annihilation is known as probably his little like out there thing. This Men thing is experimental. That television show he did, Devs, was really good. And they're all these sort of, except for Men, they're all these like science fiction-y kind of, plots. And just, I mean, you can just tell how his brain works. It's just very interesting. I think he's a good, and like when you look at Sunshine, when you look at Sunshine, when you look at even 28 Days Later, like those are interesting ideas that, again, he wrote. I mean, I feel like he's got a good...
What did you think of Slumdog Millionaire?
I love Slumdog Millionaire. Actually, I only saw that movie one time. I feel like I'm not a huge Danny Boyle fan.
Alex Garland.
Oh, Alex Garland. He didn't write Slumdog Millionaire.
No, he directed it.
Russ, you're confusing me. You're confusing me.
He's confusing me.
You're confusing me with your double talk.
I don't know who made this movie.
I
got it. Someone get Ewan McGregor on the phone.
Alex Garland. Oh, here are the stats right here. Collector's edition, rigid slip box, 64-page hardcover book. I like hardcover.
I do.
That sounds nice.
Hardcover.
Wow. That sounds nice. I like that sound.
How is this only $4 more than the Thing? You're getting so much stuff here. All the Thing had was 2 pins.
That's exactly what I was just about to say, dude. Like, look at that. $45.99 for
Honestly,
that one.
That's
for
good,
$6 more.
I gotta give happy birthday, Zavvi. That's actually a good price for this.
It's an incredible price for this.
That's
if you're paying $45 for that
for
plastic
this.
box.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I might buy this. I might blind buy this out of spite.
To spite Zavvi on their birthday by giving them money. Take that, Zavvi.
I just want to let
these releases.
Well, at this point, I want to let them know when they've done something right.
It is a nice steelbook too. Whoever did this art, I think it's this, I'm not sure, but it looks really good. And also this has been released in 4K before, so this isn't getting anything new, but I will say I own this already, and the features are really extensive for what's, currently available. So you will be hopefully surprised and elated to get the features that are on there. It's like almost hour-long documentary, an hour-long Q&A with the cast at some festival that they show the movie at, 30 minutes of behind the scenes. There's a lot of good info. So
did Cillian Murphy come back for an interview?
No, Russ, you're confusing that again. This one's got Donald Gleason. Red hair,
is that
Irishman.
Son? Is he related to Brendan Gleeson?
He might be. You want to look that up? Let me see. Brendan Gleeson.
What Danny Boyle movies were Brendan Gleeson in?
Let me see here. Brendan Gleeson. Yeah, he is. He's the son.
Hey.
You got it, Russ. You did it. You cracked it.
I'm a big fan.
But anyway, I don't know if you're going to blind buy this for us. I got my eyes on that collector's edition. I think it does look really nice, and I do love this movie a lot. It's a reasonable price for everything that you're going to get.
If I were you, I'd buy that.
Yeah, so happy birthday, Zavvi. You can have my money as well, I guess.
Hey. You're right. Jokes aside, that is a very cool release.
It is a cool release.
Mm-hmm.
So, get to Zavvi now, celebrate them, buy their toys, buy their merchandise, buy their 4K steelbooks and their Thing pin box sets. But in other 4K news, all of our favorite studios, Russ, they're announcing a ton of stuff. The first thing is Dress to Kill, 4K, coming out from Kino Lorber. We've probably mentioned this like 5 times at this point. It was always like, oh, it was announced. Oh, here's the art. Oh, they might have a date. Now, finally, everything is confirmed. Mm-hmm. So it's out October 25th. It's a 2-disc release. It's got a new 4K transfer. It's got a Dolby Vision HDR, all that good stuff. A new audio commentary by a film critic named Maitland McDonough. So it's new. A special features disc, which has a ton of legacy stuff, but it also has 3 new things. A new interview with Nancy Allen.
Nice.
It's pretty solid. It's pretty classy Kino. a new interview with associate producer Fred Caruso, and a new interview with Keith Gordon. And then, like I said, a ton of other stuff. Look at all these other archival interviews, making ofs. It's like a bunch of stuff on disc 2 on this Blu-ray. Now, what I did not know about this movie, Russ, is that there is a theatrical and there's an uncut version of this movie. And the one that you're getting here, it states that it's unrated at 105 minutes. So I don't know if that's a deal breaker. I don't know if people...
I have no idea what version.
I don't even know what the difference is.
I don't either. And I don't know which version...
So hopefully you're not like startled and like, what is that scene? Like, I don't remember that. I don't know.
I feel like for movies, especially ones like in our lifetime, for instance, in the 2000s, you always had this stupid unrated cut, you know, to here, let's get 15-year-old boys to buy this in promise of boobs.
Yeah.
I don't feel like Dress to Kill was made for like, hey, there's all this extra footage to make it unrated. I just think it was a controversial movie, and there's probably like just little cuts thrown back
to make
in
sure that they could get it in the theater.
Yeah, that you probably wouldn't even notice. If I had to guess, let us know in the comments. Is there a big difference between the theatrical and unrated?
Yeah.
I'm unaware if there is.
Now, again, I really like their classy take. So you have their original art on the outside slip box, and then you have this kind of cool art underneath.
That's badass. I did not see that.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's wow.
Isn't that cool looking? I feel like...
And I've already pre-ordered this.
Oh, you did? Okay.
But I only saw the slip. I didn't know.
Yeah.
See, that's cool. It's a scene in the
it's
movie.
A scene in the movie. Yeah.
It's the first time you see the killer.
I think it's
not hard to figure out who the killer is in this movie, but the first time you see them kill in the elevator, and like that's an exact shot. That's a really awesome idea for the cover. And I like that they kept the original artwork for the slip.
Yeah.
That's
Kino.
Good job, Kino. Ooh, I'm happy I pre-ordered that.
Yeah.
Man, that would have been so awesome if you didn't show me that. And when I got it in the mail, I opened it up.
Yeah.
Thanks. You ruined Zavvi's birthday.
Ruined the surprise. So that looks amazing. Kino taking another Criterion release for a ride, and let's see what the transfer looks like there. But the fact that they're getting new features, old features, cool ass slip art, and cool ass box underneath, sounds like a no brainer.
Did you pick up Eternal Sunshine?
I did. I haven't watched it yet.
But you opened it?
I did.
Was the slip? What was the artwork on the actual disc, like the box of the disc, not the slip?
Oh,
was it different art, or was it just the original poster?
It's the same. Yeah, it's the same.
Wow, that's really cool. They did that with Dress to Kill, though.
Yeah, it's the same. One thing that I also kind of picked out that I never have seen before, and maybe I've just missed it and just didn't see it till now, is on the box it says 4K Ultra HD and Special Features Blu-ray. It normally says like 2 disc, and like a digital code, and they just end up putting the features on the Blu-ray. I think it's interesting that they're calling it that on here.
I know.
Isn't that interesting? That's all that it is. There's no other version of the movie.
Basically, business as usual, but they don't ever advertise it that way.
And honestly, usually too, because the second disc is the Blu-ray film. This one does not have the film. This is 4K only, so you're not getting this. You can't get this as a Blu-ray also. So I guess that's why they felt like they needed to differentiate. October 25th, Russ, pre-order. Solid, dude. This is the one that I pre-ordered, and that's The Usual Suspects that Kino's also putting out. This is out also October 25th, a 2-disc edition. Now, this is different where you're getting the Blu-ray and you're getting a 4K, and it's got a 16-bit restoration. I've never seen it called that either, from the original camera negative, color graded and approved by the cinematographer.
I was about to say, approved by Nintendo.
Was that 8-bit? Was it 32-bit? Was the next one? I can't remember.
Super Nintendo was 16-bit, wasn't it?
I don't know. It was a solid joke. I just misunderstood. Kino.
It wasn't a literal fact.
No.
I was trying to key you in on.
You weren't. So unlike the last movie, or unlike Dress to Kill, this one doesn't have anything new other than an interview with the cinematographer for like 16 minutes. So you got like one new feature on there, but everything else that's on here has been on there before. It's like audio commentaries, an hour and a half of like legacy stuff. If you like add up all the times, like there's a ton of stuff on there. And I remember because I owned this before and I watched all the stuff that was on there. And actually going back, I kind of stumbled upon this, and what I never realized until now, because this is such a fad all of a sudden, that Usual Suspects was a pioneer with the slipcase coming down and changing the image. I don't know if anyone else had this, but I don't think I ever realized that they had done this however many years ago.
I never owned Usual Suspects, but I can tell you another release that I know you own that does that.
What's that?
And it has Kevin Spacey.
Oh, Swimming with Sharks. Was that the same?
Yeah,
Was that
Swimming with
MGM?
Sharks had
Also?
that. Yep.
See,
Actually, King of New York, the DVD from Lionsgate, did that.
and they did it in a classy way. So take note. But anyway, so this is coming out October 25th. I'm looking forward to this. Hopefully, and again, Kino's been doing great with the transfers. I know you're not picking this one up, Russ. Yes, no.
I don't hate Usual Suspects. It's just
You hate it.
No, it's just overrated in my eyes. No, it's not something I need personally. I don't need to own it. No.
Okay. All right. Well, moving right along, Criterion. Oh, actually, hold on. Also, just two other things that they announced, but there's nothing really to it. Is they're also putting out Marathon Man in 4K and the Red Dragon in 4K.
We can keep going.
Good for them. Just wanted to make sure that was known. That was part of the historical record.
I'm glad Brett Ratner's getting his due.
He is. He's getting his. I kind of like that movie.
Dude, you seen Manhunter?
I haven't.
Oh God, you'll hate Red Dragon after Manhunter.
Really? I can't
It's
imagine.
the same story. It's based on the same book.
but I don't want to see what's his name. Alex Cox. Brian.
It's
Cox?
like one scene.
Brian Cox.
He's barely in it. It's like one scene. It's
saw him
not
in the trailer. I didn't
It's
like
not
it.
structured the way the Anthony Hopkins movies are, where Hannibal's a main character.
Yeah.
If from what I recall, it's literally just one interview that
So he's like
your boy from
Gotcha.
To Live and Die in L.A. does.
Gotcha. Okay.
Am I wrong on that?
Are you?
What's that guy?
I don't know his name. I know who you mean. I can see
That's
his
in
face, but I don't know his
Manhunter,
name.
Isn't it? Am I completely off?
I think you might be completely off.
It's still better than Red Dragon.
Whatever it is, it's better than Red Dragon. Criterion put announced a bunch of titles as well. Some pretty interesting ones. The Infernal Affairs trilogy, I always had heard about because it was the
Departed.
Departed was the remake of this, and I always thought, oh, maybe I'll go back and watch this one day. But they're putting this out now. These are only Blu-rays. It looks like 4K restorations of all three films. It doesn't say. Are these 4Ks?
I would definitely hold off then.
Yeah, it doesn't say it explicitly, but it does say new 4K restoration. But what does say it explicitly in their title?
It must not be because they're
it says it in their
announcing-
title. You see how it says it in the title.
Look at Malcolm X.
Yeah, Malcolm X 4K. So Malcolm X is the one that I thought was the most interesting for us to discuss because I know it's a movie that we've alluded to before when we've talked about all the movies that Spike Lee's filmography that have come out on Criterion. And I think you might have even said, I'm surprised Malcolm X hasn't come out. I think you might have said that, or maybe you didn't. Maybe I made that up. But in November, it is finally coming out in 4K from Criterion.
I remember that conversation. We were debating because we were talking about how a lot of his stuff comes out on Kino. And I was saying like Jungle Fever, Crooklyn, etc. And I was like, well, Malcolm X seems to be more of a Criterion one than Kino.
Yeah.
And he does. They're at Bamboozled, Do the Right Thing.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
Well, it's coming out finally from finally from Criterion for the first time. And that's November 1st in its debut in 4K. It's getting Dolby Vision and all that stuff. And it's being supervised by our boy, Ernest Dickerson. He came back to supervise it.
He was still the cinematographer for Spike at that time.
Yeah. So it's not Spike Lee that came back. It's Ernie. Ernie came back to put his seal of approval on this piece.
They're mortal enemies now.
Yeah.
No, they're cool. Not at all.
Now, I
had the damn Warner Brothers snap case of
Did
Malcolm
you?
X.
Well, I was
Yeah.
going to read these features. Tell me if this sounds familiar, if this is anything that you had before.
Well, no, I'll tell you. No.
There's nothing
because
on
there
it?
was nothing on that.
Okay.
But they did put out a special edition. It was either DVD or Blu-ray of Malcolm X. I don't know who put it out, and I never picked it up. So I don't know if these features carry over from that one. But the initial Warner Brothers snapper case had nothing on it.
Had nothing on there.
No.
Well, this one comes with quite a good bit. I mean,
I'm excited.
2005 audio commentary with Spike Lee and Dickerson, a new conversation with Spike Lee, new interviews with Delroy Lindo and the music composer, making a featurette featuring like everyone, a feature-length documentary from 1972 on Malcolm X, the man, narrated by James Earl Jones.
I was just looking at that. I want to watch that.
Deleted scenes, a booklet with an essay included, and a Blu-ray only version of this is coming out as well. So you can pick, decide which one you want to get. So it's pretty cool. Are you excited about this one, Russ?
Oh yeah, I'm very excited.
Pumped.
I can't wait to cover this the
Pumped.
week of release.
Yeah.
Great movie.
I've never seen it, but I do love Denzel. Should I watch this movie?
Hey, if you love Denzel, it's Probably his best performance.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, he's so damn good in that movie. When I just like, if Malcolm X, the actual historical figure, comes up in conversation, like I pictured Denzel in my head half the time. And yeah, it's that good.
Okay.
Well, like I said, regardless, let's say for some reason you hate the movie, like holy shit, Denzel Washington is incredible in this.
And he didn't win for that.
No, it was bullshit. He should have.
Yeah.
He won for Training Day, which is the same thing that happened with like Al Pacino. It's like, oh damn, all these great legendary performances. We missed you, so here you go. Scent of a Woman.
Right.
It's like, come on. It was a legacy win.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm with you.
But easily, we should look up who beat him that year. Whoever it was, it probably should have been Denzel. It had to have been a heavy hitter, in my opinion, for him not to get that. Aside from bullshit racism and all that.
It was 1993.
Philadelphia, Tom Hanks.
Yeah. No. Yep, Philadelphia, Tom Hanks won, Russ. So he beat out Malcolm X. When's Philadelphia coming on Criterion? Since that's such a better movie. And
hey,
Tom Hanks,
no disrespect to Demi, but or Tom Hanks, honestly, but Jesus Christ, nah. Denzel and Malcolm X is a revelation. Like Tom Hanks is just doing
Tom Hanks stuff.
Yeah, he's classy, he's great, but you know,
he's not setting the world on fire like Denzel.
No.
Well, it's coming out November the 1st.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you want me to go off on this movie right now? I feel like I have so much to talk about on this, but I feel like we'll wait until it comes
Russ.
out. I mean, I could go on and on.
November 22nd, excuse me. That's when it comes out. No, I'm sure you can, and we should cover it when it comes out. But I see you're seething with passion for this film.
Well, I mean, Spike's one of my favorite filmmakers, so yeah, and this is he's one of my favorite filmmakers, and Malcolm X is his epic.
And I think the cover art looks cool.
It does.
I like that a lot.
That cover art.
I think it looks really, really
And
cool.
I would have been happy just with the X, the black.
Yeah.
I would have been happy just with that. It would have reminded me of like the Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
Even if you wanted to compare it with Criterion's releases.
Right.
But yeah, I like that too. That's really cool.
Yeah. No, I think it looks
I
awesome.
pre-ordered this already as well.
There you go. This is another recommendation straight from Russ's lips.
Shit. I hope my wife's not listening or watching.
We're spending a lot of money here. I hope
Jesus
neither of our wives are
Christ.
watching. A lot of money going down the drain. But speaking of classics, Russ, is the Columbia Classics that we had the honor of covering almost a year ago. Columbia Classics Volume 2. And surprisingly enough, I think at the time when I covered that, or when we covered that, I feel like we just did it just to do it because there was some actual good titles in there. Taxi Driver was in there. It was like, okay, this is maybe something to talk about. But I don't think I even really expected that many people would even comment and say, yeah, we're going to pick this up. But there is like a pretty large fan base for this collection. So when this one got announced, I was kind of scratching my head a little bit because I feel like it's nowhere near the caliber as the ones before it. And this is coming out October 25th. It Happened One Night, From Here to Eternity, To Sir with Love, The Last Picture Show, Annie, and As Good as It Gets. What are your thoughts on those titles, all being in the same classy Columbia box?
No disrespect to the people you mentioned who are excited about these.
There's a lot of you
sets.
out there.
These bug me because there's no connective tissue. There's nothing that. What the hell does Annie and The Last Picture Show have in common? You know,
As Good as It Gets.
As good as it gets. Yeah, even throw that in there.
That's what they have in common, that movie, because they're in the same box set together.
Just make a Helen Hunt box set or something. You know?
Yeah.
Like, what is?
I know, and they're weird.
And they're not releasing them individually, are they?
No, and that's the thing. Traditionally, the movies that are in these have not been out in 4K before. Now, over time, some of them have at this point. It's not some of the really great ones like Taxi Driver that people are like clamoring for.
That's what I was just thinking. In my head, I was like, wait a second. I don't own Taxi Driver on 4K. So that probably did not happen.
Yeah.
Or I would have.
Now, I will say what they do that I think is respectable is they do, not only is it all the new 4K transfers and stuff, but they give every movie a ton of new features. There's a lot of extra bonus stuff that comes with it. There's this huge book, and the box is nice. So they're not just like repackaging them in some dumbass, like whatever you call this, like bookcase looking slide, whatever. I don't even know what you call that. But this package, like they are doing something nice for them. Mm-hmm. But as far as these movies are concerned, like the first one had Gandhi in it. Mm-hmm. The first one had
not Ben Kingsley, but Gandhi.
Literal Gandhi was in there. Gandhi, Dr. Strangelove, Lawrence of Arabia, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, A League of Their Own, and Jerry Maguire. I feel like there's some bangers in there. I mean, Volume 2, Anatomy of a Murder, Oliver, Taxi Driver, Stripes, Sense and Sensibility, and The Social Network. And now they're starting to like trail off.
Honestly, I feel like these are more classic than the one you just mentioned.
This most recent one, this third one?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I feel like this is a weaker box set than those two.
I don't think it's weaker than the second one you just said.
The one with
it's
Taxi
weaker
Driver
than
in
the
it?
first one. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think the second one is starting to take a little bit of a nosedive. They have Taxi Driver in there to really try to boost it a little.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't buy a standalone of any of these movies. Honestly.
Yeah, I don't know. And this is coming in at $165, and these are super limited. Now, the first one you can't even get for less than $250 out there on like eBay. I think even Amazon's got them for that price because it's probably people reselling them on there. But you can get this. You can get the second one for under $100 right now. So that's your theory. It's working. Under $100, they still have it out there. And I kind of feel bad for people that have been sucked into this. It's kind of like, what was the thing? Encyclopedias, that would get sold to you over a course of time. It's like you start in with one. Okay, I kind of like two. Now the third one's here. And what if I don't like the third one? But then what if they put a fourth one out that's great? It like sucks. It's like you're just locked in no matter what. If you're a completionist kind of person, I feel bad for that.
Yeah.
I feel bad for you all that are doing that.
But then again, see, I wouldn't even feel that way because there's no connective tissue within the films themselves in each set. So I wouldn't even feel like I'm lacking anything. To me, it already feels like a just kitchen sink approach.
Yeah, I wish we could get a set like this from a studio we love, like Canon Films or someone else that's good.
Yeah, Full Moon Features.
Yeah, like whatever.
Actually, they did one, I think.
I mean, that'd be kind of cool. I don't know, but I don't know. As far as this box set's concerned, this is a definite pass for me. But
the Platinum Dunes collection in 4K.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'd buy this before that.
Where does this go on anyone's shelf too? If
I don't think it'll fit on a shelf.
I know if there's some true collectors of these out there, let us. I apologize, but let us know how it all works out for you down below. But another just quick box that I wanted to mention because this is a second volume also is this Shawscope, which they put out. Arrow put this out the first volume a little while ago, and this is coming out about a year later. And it's a red package instead of a blue one. It's got 14 films in it. 9 new 2K restorations, so it's not 4K, but it also has like 10 discs, 8 films, 2 CDs with music selections. Nice package, nice booklet, all the kind of nice stuff that goes with it. And I don't know anything about these.
I don't either.
And the only thing I was thinking about when I saw this
go ahead. Yeah.
was just like, I wonder how many of these are possibly going to come out. Like how many Shawscopes are. This is volume 2. It's like they're really putting a lot of time into this. And I looked at Shaw Brothers Films or whatever was doing stuff from like 1958 to 2011. They produced nearly 1,000 films. So I feel like this could probably, if Arrow's got a little cash cow in their hands, this is going to be coming out for years.
Hey, that's cool though. If you're a fan, I'm not mad at these sets.
What were you going to say?
I'm with you. I know nothing. I'm looking at the titles, and all I'm thinking about is
Wu-Tang
Clan.
Yeah,
that's all I'm thinking.
Yeah,
just reading over in my mind is Wu-Tang, Wu-Tang, and I'm just losing focus on reading the title.
Well, I'll tell you what title you're not going to lose focus on, Russ, and that's Top Gun Maverick, which has finally been announced.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's ready for the home release, November the 1st.
They feel the need from
Paramount.
double dip.
They're ready for a double dip. Now, this is coming out from Paramount. Paramount's putting out a lot lately. And I'm actually pretty impressed. They held out as long as possible to put this out on.
They really did.
I mean, the shit's like out immediately anymore. And they really did wait. I mean, and it's still months away. This is November 1st. This is coming out. And
Tom Cruise put his foot down.
He did.
Concerning everything with this release.
He did.
No, we're going to do this like the 90s.
Yeah, dude. And I mean, he's like now like, I don't know, like a magnitude richer than he was probably. God knows what deal he worked out for this. Biggest movie of all time.
Honestly, it was a gamble, everything he did. And to see it pay off, it's
impressive.
It is. And I'm happy because what he pulled off was essentially, hey, let's make movies kind of like what they used to be a little bit. And hey,
now here he is, regular and a steelbook. I've already pre-ordered the steelbook. I think it looks nice. I like him in that plane, looking over the
you
side.
You saw this. You are a fan.
Oh yeah, and when I pick this up and it releases, and I'll have my time to gush over it. Maybe you'll have had a chance to watch it as well by then.
I'm interested in it. I am interested, but like I said, for reference, I never liked the original Top Gun. Even as a child, I never liked the original. So I'm more I want to support this more so in theory of what it represents than actually wanting to watch the movie.
Yeah.
But Jesus Christ, the damn near unanimous praise it's getting, it has a high standard for me going into it. Even without my interest, I'm like, hey, the bar is set pretty high from the fans. I wonder if what I'm going to think of it.
And I feel like when you watch this at home, and maybe it's just because I'm biased because I watched it in the theater, you'd want to watch this on the biggest thing that you possibly can because it is such a large movie. And I feel like once it hits streaming and people are like, oh, let's check this out on our phones, it's gonna lose like something, It's just there's like I feel
it
like
already won though.
I feel right, it already did. But I mean, as far as like the at home experience, if you're going to watch this at home, I feel like the streaming element of it in your bedroom, I feel like you're going to miss out unless you're really like immersing yourself in this movie. That's like part of it. And I feel like that's why the theater was really important for it in a way. So, but yeah, you're right. It already won and it's going to keep on winning. Tom Cruise is going to keep winning. Now, this also was previewed to have a 2-pack option as well with 1 and 2 if you care to get 1 and 2, but I'm just going with Maverick for me. That's it. And if you look at the special features, there's some decent stuff on here. It's like 5. It doesn't give you the times on them, but it's like a making of, a look at the training. There's Tom flying planes and stuff. I think Tom Cruise has like a whole like conversation with the audience at Cannes Film Festival. 2 music videos. Lady Gaga and One Republic. I had no idea that they did the theme songs for this movie.
I had no idea One Republic was still like...
Me neither. I just think of Kenny Loggins and he did the soundtrack and that's it.
I just think of it's just the way that you use it.
But I'm looking forward to watching this again. And Russ, I hope you do give this a chance at some point.
I plan on checking it out before we discuss it.
Okay.
I'm interested.
All right. Well, just to close out on these releases here, there was 2 releases I saw that I stumbled across that I kind of laughed at and I wanted to share because I just think they're sort of silly. And no offense to the people that like these movies, but for anyone that likes the Bourne identity and that whole series, I think there's like 5 of them or whatever it might be. You're getting a 20th anniversary collection of these movies. 20th anniversary, 4K from Universal. And this might be the release of the year because it's coming with not only all 5 films in 4K, HDR presentations and so forth, which I think it's just all the movies that have already been released in 4K, just kind of like gathered together. So you're not getting anything new disc-wise. But what you are going to get, Russ, is a backpack with Bourne on it. You're going to get a monocular, Russ, so you can do some spy shit. A keychain with a compass, 2 dog tags, and a certificate of authenticity. Look at this box this thing comes in, dude. Look at this thing. Full-size backpack. Like, look at this. Matt Damon sold his likeness rights for this box. 20th anniversary. Finally a 20th anniversary collection done right. This looks... What do you think, Russ?
I can't wait to send my kid back to school.
Dude, I know. It's bulletproof. I mean...
Son, finish your breakfast, put your dog tags on, and grab your Bourne Identity book bag. We got to get to school.
Now, if your last name was Bourne, this would be hot. But most people's names aren't going to be Bourne, so you're just going to look like you're wearing a Jason Bourne backpack, and I think that's the dumbest shit I've ever seen.
I like the irony to it.
People aren't buying this for irony. People are buying this. I mean, who is this for? I don't even know who this is for.
This is absurd.
How much would you pay for this?
$400, man. No.
The backpack alone is worth $350.
Yeah, how much is it going for?
$129.99. So that's a quality backpack. Right now, that's a quality monocular. It's like military grade. I mean, how are you not going to get made fun of for wearing this if that's even possible? Now,
I'm going to have to lose my memory if I decide to buy this shit.
The only comments I've even seen are just about how disappointed that actual fans of this set are, that they're just slapping some bullshit together when they say the transfers already suck and they need Atmos sound, whatever. There's gripes about re-putting these out. So now that they're getting something, all we're getting is a damn backpack. I don't know. I just thought this was hilarious.
You complain, but what you're failing to realize is that the book bag was directed by Paul Greengrass, so it's just constantly shaking while it's resting on your shoulders.
Constantly shaking. And then the last one I wanted to share with you, Russ, just a little bit more irony, is that Jurassic World Dominion, one of your favorite movies of the year, is coming out.
Great picture.
And it's out now in 4K Ultra HD from Universal, one of your favorite films of the summer. Now, what I thought was funny is it's coming with 2 versions of the movie, in case you didn't like the one that you saw. There is an extended version.
Thank God.
14 minutes longer. And here's how they describe it. Are you ready? 14 minutes of additional footage featuring more dinosaurs, more action, more iconic character moments, and an alternative opening.
Damn, why'd they cut it out in the first place then?
Look how great this movie could have been. Now you're going to finally find out.
No wonder I hated it. It didn't have the iconic character moments that were cut out.
No, I mean, there is a surprising number of features if you look at this thing. But, I mean, it's probably all like 3-minute, what are they called? Like EPKs, like filler bullshit.
Dude, I saw Chris Pratt when he was doing the press tour, and he looked just as bored as I was watching the fucking movie.
And I mean, if you can still get this box set too with the Raptor if you want to, and I'm assuming this extended 14-minute longer cuts in there. You can get the theatricals in there too for all you people that are worried.
Well, dude, I'm a purist. I mean, don't fuck with the classics. When I saw Dominion, I thought, I swear to God, if Lucas comes in here and tinkers with this shit, I'm gonna riot.
And they did.
You're right, but it wasn't Lucas.
An alternate opening. 14 more minutes. Well,
I don't even remember the real opening, and I saw the movie like 2 months ago. More dinosaurs. There's not one scene in this movie without dinosaurs.
Well,
there's locusts in some
they
scenes.
put more in all caps in the thing, so in the write-up, so I'm assuming it's a lot more. So that's out now. It's out now. Something else that I wanted to touch on really briefly is kind of one of the more disappointing, not Dominion, this box art for The Lost Boys, some of the most disappointing news of the year that we already shared. And I think a lot of people are sad that how it turned out with the blue Michael face and the Lost Boys hanging from the train tracks just looked like crap. Mm-hmm. Well, it just so happens that a company called Cinemuseum, who does sort of what I guess you'd call premium Blu-ray releases, where it's very similar in a lot of ways to people we've covered before, like Everything Blue, where they are taking an existing disc, and in most cases, existing steelbook art, and they're just packaging it with their created outer box and maybe some other, things that go with it. And they're usually very premium price. And sometimes the box itself, in a lot of these cases, you get 2 options. You get more of like what they call a full slip, which is almost just like a regular slipcase, and then one that's like lenticular. So when you change, like when you move it back and forth, like the whole image sort of like rotates and looks really cool. And some of these are really well done because some of these companies do a really great job with the packaging.
Blue Underground did those awesome
stuff like
lenticular ones for the like Fulci movies.
Yeah. And I mean, and so from some of the ones that I have seen, it looks pretty good. And so this one, The Lost Boys, is getting an edition from this group, Cinemuseum. And they're doing it in the fashion that you kind of normally see these companies doing it, where they offer up a full slip version and then a lenticular version, which I'm more partial to only because it's the original art. And that's basically what I've complained about since we even covered this thing.
Oh, yeah.
So that looks awesome. I mean, you're still getting that steelbook is going to be slid in there, but at least you have the original font on the outside and the spine, and the original art looks really nice.
God, anybody watching, please pick this one up if you're going to.
Yeah, and both of these, you can kind of see.
It looks like In the Mouth of Madness on the left.
And they each come with a little bit something different as well. So this first one, this box art is coming with a poster, a missing, a milk cart, which is interesting, a milk box, the booklet, the little postcards and stuff, and then this unique box art. And then the other one that has the original art on it has the Chinese food box, a booklet, pictures. I mean, little tchotchkes that are coming with it, and the difference in price is basically one of them is $59.90 and one of them is $64.90. And this is in euros, but euros are 1-to-1 with dollars now. I didn't know that.
Are they really?
Yeah. So, and then the final option for this, which again is pretty typical for companies like this, is what they call the box set or the one click, where it's essentially both of these sets within a new outer box. So this outer box here which this doesn't say lenticular or anything, but it kind of folds open, and both of those releases we just looked at go inside of it. So you're basically buying two releases, two of the same movies, but two sets of different packaging is what's coming inside of this bigger outer box. So again, there's a whole other subset of collectors that I feel like are really into that, which I've never really delved into. And I see, there's a ton of companies that do this. What was it? You said Blue Underground?
Well, they don't do this.
Stuff like the full
I was
thing.
just talking about the lenticular.
Oh, the lenticular
slips.
stuff. Oh, yeah. So Manta Labs, I know, is like another really big one. HD Zeta, I've heard of before. Blue Fans, Nova Media. Sometimes you see like these coming out for like, there's only 200 of them. There's only 100 of them. And they're limited and they sell out like immediately. And then they go for a ton on the aftermarket.
That doesn't bother me though.
No, it doesn't. And I think that's the reason why, it's a very niche thing that people are specifically collecting packaging that they love. And I don't know, from what I can tell,
I completely understand it because you're not gonna get a limited reprint of this.
No, and it's like a whole other. I feel like it's a whole other universe because like I'm looking for I'm looking for whatever this one essentially. But just this.
So
like it
it
doesn't even need to have all the extra stuff. Like I could just take this hard box with this slit into it and be fine. But there's a whole other element to it when you want to have not only this art, but this other art that this company put out and this wraparound box that they're going to put out that keeps the whole thing. It's almost like it doesn't belong on your movie shelf. No. It's like its own art piece that you keep protected some other way.
Yeah, but what I'm thinking is that's great. Even how limited it was. What was the number you said? Down to 200?
It's like 200. One of them's 200, one of them's 300, I think.
But I mean, think about it. If Lost Boys is your favorite movie,
yeah,
that would be badass to have every edition in one little set there. I understand that. I would never seek out every release that's like this. Sure. It would have to be a movie that's like in my top 10 for me to do this.
Yeah, and sometimes they will put out what they call world exclusive art. So the steelbook itself will be their art. So sometimes that's
Which they did that here.
That's right. So did I. And I thought the same thing. I was like, why did we not do that for this one? But yeah, so that full slip one is 200 items. This lenticular one is 300 and the box set is 300 also.
That's probably already sold out.
It's not up yet.
I was about to say, it hasn't gone live yet.
It hasn't gone live yet.
If anybody watching wants this, you better jump on that. That's going to go immediately.
Yeah. I don't know.
Especially since the original releases, the artwork's horrendous already. Like these are going to go, and Lost Boys is a big title.
Yep.
That's going to go like that.
Yeah. And a lot of these, it's kind of cool. I think you have some of these where it has like a serial number like written on it, or it's like provided to you with like a card or something. Mm-hmm. A lot of these have that kind of like extra little touch. But one other one that's not on their website yet that I also saw is not that. Hold on, where did it go? 1 second. It's actually.
Wait, you've been posting on Instagram? Thank you.
No, I didn't post on there.
Oh, I thought that was 4K Kings.
This is my save stuff.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, hold on 1 sec. Here it is. So they're putting out Fright Night also. And
That's
feel
pretty cool.
It looks really freaking nice. I mean, the box art is the traditional poster, but there's like a blue tint to it and the whole thing.
That is really nice.
The back art also is really cool. So again, this isn't even on their website yet, but it's limited to 500. It's the same 4K, probably steel. I don't know if there'll be different art. I mean, it would be awesome if it was the art that's already available that's going in that awesome box.
Even if it wasn't, I wouldn't be mad because that box is nice.
It is nice, and I'm not sure what goes inside. A lot of times they sweeten the deal, and I don't know if I saw that on the Lost Boys one, but so you get the full slip one, then you're like, okay, I'm going to buy the lenticular one too because I want both, but actually I want the package where they all come together. When you buy the package, sometimes they give you an additional like envelope with like bonus stuff that didn't come with the other two to try to like rope you in a little bit. I don't know which one this would be. This one looks like a pretty large size, so I don't know if this is like one release or all of them stuck together, but it looks really nice.
Yeah.
Who knows? Like $60, maybe $70. I don't know what that'll end up being.
Yeah, dang, that's nice. I'm envious of anyone who gets that.
Yeah, no, that's looking really good, and so does the Lost Boys one. So if it goes live, I might try to get that Lost Boys one. I do feel like I'm not going to probably end up picking this up on purpose because of this. And if I could have gotten this in the first place, I would have already had it pre-ordered. Mm-hmm. It's like it would have been a no-brainer.
Same.
And that's
I would have bought it if it was the original artwork. I would have bought it, but I'm not. It's that bad.
Yeah,
it really is.
No, yeah, it's a drag. So anyway, so for all of you out there that were interested, maybe you knew this existed, maybe you didn't. Let us know if there's any of these companies that you swear by, or if there's any companies like this we should check out. Should we even get into this game? Is it like one of those things where you just get super caught up into it, and now you're buying these for like $500 in the aftermarket? How does it work? How does the addiction work?
I don't know. I live in poverty as is.
I know. I feel like this is an expensive. I feel like this is an expensive niche to this hobby.
I know. Whenever stuff like this comes up, it forces me to question myself. Like, man, is the Lost Boys really that good? And I have to like tear the movie apart in my head just to justify not buying it.
And you don't even end up liking the movie anymore.
I know.
Thanks a lot, Steelbook.
Now I think about it, those Doors cover songs in it were kind of bad. No, I don't need this. But then I think about the saxophone guy, and I'm like, fuck, never mind. I need it.
I still believe.
I still believe.
Well, tell us below if this is something that you guys are going to be getting, or if we should steer clear of this element of the hobby, because like you said, it'll just make us go broke. But did want to cover a few movies that are coming out, a few features that will be released in 4K soon. The first one being Real Genius. So Real Genius, actually, let me see if I can bring this up really quick, just so we can see the art.
Looks good.
Yeah, it's looking sharp. There it is, so we can look at it. There it is. So coming out on September 13th on 4K, in what's in my opinion a very shocking move to put out in 4K. I was literally like blown away when I saw this announcement. Like it has to be the Val Kilmer love. I don't know that there's kind of a little bit's been brewing lately with that documentary and him being in Top Gun, and I don't know.
Yeah, it must have been that documentary.
Maybe, I don't know what it is, but it's coming out in 4K, and I've absolutely already pre-ordered in this movie, and it'll be coming to me in about a week. But this is a personal 80s favorite of mine. It came out in 1985. So I was 3 years old when it came out, so I have no idea when I saw this for the first time. Directed by Martha Coolidge, Valley Girl fame. Not really much else after that. Maybe one or two things that I remember, but she had done Valley Girl, and then she did this. And this was also produced by Brian Grazer, which I did not know. And this was only the third movie he was ever involved in, and he's done like a ton of movies.
I didn't know it was the same director as Valley Girl.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Martha Coolidge.
She's good then. Shit. I like both of them. What else has she done?
We'll get there. I think.
All right. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I think the only one that I remember when I looked at her filmography was Plain Clothes. Do you remember that movie?
I don't think so.
Dude, it was on HBO. Like,
who was in it?
Oh God, that fucking guy's name.
Ed Begley Jr.
Oh God, his name is like escaping me. Hold on, I'll just show you the poster and you tell me. It was like a guy going undercover cop in like a high school. The dude from like Cheers.
Ted Danson.
No, the curly haired like dude. Was it Norm? George Wendt. George Wendt. Yep. Yeah, he was in Arliss
Jason
Howard.
Schwartzman's uncle.
Arliss Howard.
Was it Jason Sudeikis' uncle?
Arliss Howard.
Oh, you're right. Wow. It's like I know that name and I know that face, but my mind will not allow me to remember or connect them.
Yep. Here's like a shot from it. Yeah, he's like supposed
to be this is like 21 Jump Street?
I guess so. I didn't really know that too well, but he's supposed to be in high school. But that's the only other movie of hers that I knew after
I've
this.
never heard of this.
This was what she did after this. After Real Genius, she did Plain Clothes. And I watched this on HBO 1,000 times. And I don't even know why. I don't remember it being like super great or me really thinking it was that great, but for some reason I was entertained by it. So that was it. But back to the movie that matters, not this Plain Clothes nonsense. We're talking about Real Genius. Fuck. Val Kilmer, Gabe Jarrett, Michelle Maverick, who I love in this movie. The only other thing I knew from her was Nerds. She was like one of like the pies. The Moose? No, it was the Moose. Yeah, the Moose. The
The
one that
one who
likes Gilbert.
yeah, with Anthony
Yeah.
Edwards.
I feel
you know
like
what's crazy? I just watched that 2 nights ago.
Did you really?
Yep.
She kind of had a glam up for this movie, even though she's kind of
I
in the
didn't realize it was
nerd
this-
realm.
I didn't, dude. I watched that. We're filming this on a Tuesday night. I watched Revenge of the Nerds Tuesday, and I was watching some of Real Genius yesterday, and I
Wow.
had no clue it was the same actress.
Wow. Yeah, dude, it is. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, she kind of. I feel like she's great in this movie. She's good in that too.
She is.
She's like the love interest in this, so she's got a little bit more.
Well, let me get it out of the way.
Personality.
Let me get my thoughts out of the way first, because this is
Okay.
more your movie than mine for sure. Tell me if you agree with me, because what you just said about her, I definitely would say about the main character as well. And I think that's a secret weapon in this movie, is that the main kid is very likable. You feel for him.
Oh, definitely.
Like
Yep.
it's not a typical snotty kind of kid.
He's
Like,
wholesome.
yes, but not in an annoying way. Not
No.
in a you really. If there literally was a boy next door, it would be this kid.
Yeah.
And so you feel for him. It's very effective, and she is as well.
Yep.
In it.
Yeah. No, I agree, and I think he is really he was like kind of like a nobody. You know, he was kind
Still
of,
is. I don't know his name at all.
Right, Gabe Jarrett. That's it. And you know, he didn't like. I can't say that he or even Val Kilmer carries this movie necessarily, but he is just as good as what Val Kilmer's bringing to the table.
Yeah.
He's just a straight man to his goofy one.
Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like he holds his own.
Very well. It's not even about holding his own. I just think he is so empathetic.
Yeah.
So when Val Kilmer or William Atherton are both over the top sarcastic and
Yeah.
all that, it lands better because
You feel
he's
bad.
so wholesome.
Yeah, and you
but
feel bad.
But it's funny as well. But you understand it, and that
Yeah.
dynamic is present throughout the entire film.
Yeah.
that's what makes it work. It's
It
the
does.
heart.
And just to set this up in case anyone hasn't seen this movie, it's basically Val Kilmer and this guy that we were just talking about, Gabe Jarrett, who are geniuses in a engineering school, and they're working on some laser as part of like a class project, but unbeknownst to them, the like head of the school, which is played by none other than William No Dick Atherton, who is playing one of his greatest 3 asshole roles, in this being one of them, Die Hard, and then also
Ghostbusters.
of course, this man is no dick. But he's like has ties with the military, and secretly he's going to take this laser and sell it to them once it's been completed. And you know, this movie didn't really set anything on fire. I mean, critics loved it, but it didn't really do anything like huge. But I
have a
feel like
theory.
people love it now. There's like a fondness for it, you know?
I have a theory on why it wasn't successful.
All right, you tell me, and then I'll tell you why I feel like this movie's great.
You should, because this is probably like my last thought on Real.
Okay.
And I pre-ordered it as well. I'm a fan. I
Yeah.
enjoy this film. I think what happened here. So we referenced Revenge of the Nerds. Think about Animal House, Revenge, and actually I won't even go that far back. Think about 80s comedies.
Yeah.
Most of the time, if there's a big set piece type joke, that's the highlight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like for instance, I feel like in any other movie, him doing the ice,
Yeah.
that would have been like this huge gag and funny, but it's very subdued. Those kind of gags in this
Yeah.
movie, they're not larger than life, even though the idea of them is. You know what I'm
Right.
trying to say?
Right. Yeah.
But what really is funny in this movie, like I said, it's the sarcasm and it's the quips. One of my favorite parts in this movie, and it's so minor, dude. It's William Atherton and Kilmer, and they're in. I think he's in William Atherton's house. And he's telling him to come in. He's like, "Yeah, the car, take your shoes off." You know. And then he repeats himself. And he goes, "Take your shoes off and sit down." And Kilmer walks in on the carpet, sits down, then takes his shoes off. It's like little things like that in this
Yeah.
movie. They're all over the place that you kind of pick up on repeated viewings.
Yeah.
And I don't think most 80s comedies that were this style were more bombastic.
Yeah.
This is a little bit more, like I said, subdued. And not that it goes over your head the first time, but it's not like sensational. It's clever.
Yeah.
You know, you agree with me on that?
I agree with everything you just said, and that's kind of part of what I feel like makes the movie great
And special.
and special.
Yeah.
And when you said Animal House, and I feel like that's an interesting. You could almost compare. You know, this is very much so a college movie, but it is smart with like a nerdy slant.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's wholesome because there's not profanity. They say penis like 3 times, and I remember every single time they said that word, I kind of was like, it's a weird, like, why are they saying penis? Like, it just sounds like but because they don't say dick, they don't use any swearing. It's just like, it's a little bit more wholesome. And the jokes, like you said, some are in your face funny and you get it right away. Some are like, it's like a little bit more of like there's more depth. Yeah, there's more depth. Yeah.
And to put it, and to your point, I never even thought about that. I have never heard Real Genius referred to as a college comedy.
It kind of is, you know.
Like if somebody said Animal House, fucking Road Trip or something, Real Genius, I'd be like, what?
Yeah.
You know, but you're right. It is. It takes place. Yeah.
And it is. And that's why I also think that the pranks really land too, because this movie is so much about pranks. There's so many pranking things that go on, but it's all done not with potty humor, but with their way of how they would do it because they're smart, because they're geniuses. And actually, that's something I didn't even really know is that when Martha Coolidge was, I guess, researching this movie, the term real genius kind of comes from a slang term in these sort of engineering kind of schools where it's like, we're genius at fucking with you. Like we're going to, make this whole place turn into ice and no one's going to know how we did it. Or we're going to put your car in your room and you're not going to know how we did it because we're smart. And if you're smart too, you'll figure it out and you'll get us back in another smart kind of way. In
other words, hazing,
right? Like the Frito-Lay sweepstakes, like they're scamming the system, whatever. Even the last ultimate prank, which I won't spoil, even though in case you haven't seen this movie, there is an ultimate prank that gets pulled that is their ultimate revenge once they sort of find out that they've been played. And again, that's a very smart thing that goes on. It's like they're using their mental power to get even, to like get back, not do anything like bad. And I think that's why it worked. And the conclusion is super satisfying.
I never thought about this. Have you showed your son Real Genius?
I did, and he loved it.
I thought about that.
I think he's watched it since. I mean, this is a movie too for me where over time it just became my go-to. It just became something that like if I wanted to put something on in the background that was light, made me happy, felt good, this would just go on because there's so many moments. I mean, I have memorized this whole movie, but a lot of the, like you said, some of the quips, they still ring in my head. Like I can still like almost use them myself, in quoting and stuff. But no, so it's great. And the other thing that makes it great, like you said before, is the cast. And everybody works. Like Val Kilmer works. Gabe Jarrett, the guy that plays Mitch, he works. Michelle Mayrink, the girlfriend who, again, you don't really know a lot of these people from much. The whatever you want to call it, not the bully, but
the blonde dude.
Yeah. Kent. Like he's obnoxious.
The adversary. And that's how innocent and sweet this movie is.
Yes.
We can't even call him a bully. We can't even say the bad guy. Because he's kind of nice too.
He's got a little bit of an arc, like he does. Dude, John Grease, who played like Wolfman, he had nards like right around this time and then went on and did Napoleon Dynamite.
That one.
I feel like that's
one.
What, you don't like that element of the story? His element?
I agree with you on everyone else being perfectly cast. He kind of plays it a little stiff for me.
Well, I think
he doesn't ruin it.
But I think he's supposed to be stiff, don't you think? He's like an awkward genius that cracked and lives in a tunnel.
But what's funny? Like I said, we're talking about the chemistry and the performances, how strong they are.
Yeah.
Everyone else feels like a real person. He feels like a gag to me.
You think he feels like a gag? I don't know. I think
the way he's playing it. He looks like a guy acting. Everyone else feels pretty natural to me. But he doesn't ruin it. I'm not saying that. I just would stop you on him when we're going to the... Everyone is perfect.
You can't stop me on that. And then William Atherton. What's he like, Russ? You've met him.
He's just like he is in the movie.
Was he an asshole to you? He's probably really nice.
He's really nice, but come on. I grew up watching him as an asshole, and everything he says just sounds... He could say good morning when I met him, and it would be good morning, and I'm like, you dick, get away from me.
Yeah, I could see that being the case.
It's great. No, he was lovely. He was a nice man.
Yeah,
honestly.
Well, I guess just not even go. I guess not going back to that character specifically, but I think the one thing that I think is also kind of special with this movie, and they do a really great job illustrating everybody on this cover. I feel like for this reason is this movie starts off being like the Val Kilmer show with his comedy, and it's this it's Mitch character who's his roommate. They're kind of like the team, but by the end of the movie, literally everybody on this cover is like a part of the movie, the ending, like the conclusion, and I really like that they kind of become like an ensemble group by the time it's over. It gives it a little bit more depth and weight. I really like that.
It is. It's an underrated 80s movie for sure. I have another question for you, though, Matt, since you're such a big fan.
I am.
Is it just me, or does it feel like in this and Top Secret and other early Val Kilmer films that he's wearing eyeliner?
I don't know. Does it? Does it seem like that?
His eyes always look... Am I just enamored?
Maybe you are. I mean, are you falling in love with Val Kilmer every time you see him?
Hey, I met him, too. It looks like... I always thought that. Even in this movie, it always looks like he's wearing eyeliner to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I don't remember that at all. If he
Maybe
does,
he's
or if
just
he
a
doesn't.
really good looking dude.
He is a really good looking dude. I don't know, but I'll have to go back and look. Maybe in 4K it'll really pop.
Don't ask me about meeting him, man. That was kind of sad.
I know. I don't.
I had no idea.
That it would be sad. I don't want to know.
I had no idea, dude. He was
Yeah.
at a convention, and I knew he had throat cancer, but I was like, all right, he's here. I guess he's recovering nicely and all that. And yeah, he couldn't talk, and it was...
Yeah, I didn't watch that documentary because, I mean, I really like Val Kilmer a lot.
it.
Did you? I mean, I like him. And I mean, when I think Val Kilmer, to me, I go back to this movie all the time. Like, this is the movie I think of. People might think, maybe Willow, Mad Mardigan, or even Iceman, or even...
For me, well, see, The Doors were my favorite band as a kid.
There's a lot of iconic performances.
What I said about Malcolm X is kind of similar about Val Kilmer.
You think about
Sometimes
him.
when I think of Jim Morrison, I think of Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
And I'm a pretty big fan of that band, so that's...
Yeah.
He nailed it. I mean, he's a great actor, period.
And, well, beautiful segue, just to speak about music for a second. The other component to this movie, for anyone that likes 80s and some of the synth pop sort of soundtracks that sort of go with them, this one's got an impeccable one. It's one of those that maybe it's just me because I've watched this movie 1,000 times, but it's got artists on it that you will have no idea what their name is. You will never know what else they've done. They might have only done this song, but it just slaps. It's just great. It fits the mood. I mean, Chaz Jankel. Like, who the fuck is Chaz Jankel?
But Jankel?
But he's got one of the hottest hits on this.
Of the 80s.
Do you really know Chaz Jankel? Are you kidding me? Like, who the fuck is Chaz Jankel? Number One is the name of the song.
Put out Thriller, 1982, man.
Comsat Angels. I mean, there's people on here that I have no idea who they are, but the music works. The score, there's like some synth pop sort of just score without music on it. Good. It just ties the whole package together, I feel like, with the quirkiness of it, the comedy, and it's just got a nice little, it keeps it, I don't know, keeps it fresh, keeps it interesting.
This guy doesn't know who Gary Jankel is.
Gary Jankel. Chaz Jankel. And the opening song, that's the other thing. I'm going to tell you something else about this movie right now. The opening to this movie, the credits for this movie, it's literally just a sort of montage of like cave drawings all the way through like schematics of basically like weapons being made, like man's first attempt at making like a weapon and a stone drawing, like caveman wrote it, all the way to like a schematic of like a missile that a modern day military would be. It's just a montage of that while this song is playing. That's like, I don't know, it's like smooth jazz or something. And the woman singing a song about how you took advantage of me, which is the theme of this movie. And it fits beautifully, and the montage fits beautifully, but it's just such an interesting way to open this movie. I always remember when this came on HBO, I would recognize it immediately, and I'd be like, yes, Real Genius is on. That music would start.
And even that's
like,
like,
fun,
this film was
jazzy song.
This film was always offbeat.
It is, dude. You're absolutely right. It is offbeat.
But that's why it's special.
It is special. Fucking hey, Russ. It is special. So after this, Martha Coolidge did nothing. Plain clothes. Val Kilmer, I feel like, honestly, was the only one that really went on to do anything big after this movie at all. But this movie itself, I'm super excited to pick up. It's got a new 4K restoration from the original camera negative, Dolby Vision, and Atmos sound. It's like they gave it everything, and it was all approved by Martha Coolidge. She came back to like do it. Deleted scenes, a raw take montage, a commentary, and the television version of the film, which none of this stuff has ever been available before. On the DVD I've owned, on the Blu-ray I've owned, there's literally been nothing. So now you've got a literal alternate version of the movie, deleted scenes, a gag reel, and the slipcase. Look at the slipcase. It's great.
I was so happy. I texted you. I remember when I saw this announced, I was like, you must be excited.
Dude.
Because who thought this was coming?
That's what I'm telling you. It's shocking.
And I know how big of a fan you are. Like, you know what? Oh, I have a question for you then, because you clearly love this movie.
I love this movie.
And you referenced it as your favorite, your go-to 80s. I got to give you the real question then.
Okay.
Because the movie I'm about to say, we both are in love with. This versus Just One of the Guys.
Oh, wow.
See, for me, Just One of the Guys is like everything you just said about this.
I could say the same. I could.
You know what I mean?
I could go on.
Of
about
course,
Just One
there's
of the Guys,
more,
yeah.
but like even as a kid, like I liked this movie, but I never rewatched it a lot or anything like that.
Russ, we'll talk about Just One of the Guys for another hour. I mean, yeah, it's I don't know. It's like neck and neck in a way because everything I said about this movie in a lot of ways is the same thing.
I know,
Just One of the Guys.
and that's what I was thinking when you were saying it. I was like, we both love Just One of the Guys. What does this compare to with that? And where is our 4K of Just One of the Guys?
Bring it. Same thing. Soundtrack. You know, I mean, this is a real genius video. But yeah, dude, I agree. I agree. That one that needs to be 4K, and it's definitely up in the same caliber as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, awesome movie, awesome cast, awesome story, very unique. Like we said, wholesome, fun, great conclusion, wraps up well. Everybody Wants to Rule the World. The song was like catapulted by this movie. If you even like that song by Tears for Fears, this movie put it on the map. This movie did, Russ. This movie.
You're giving Gary Chasbo a little too much credit now.
If there's any fans of this out there, you're obviously picking this up. If you did never see this, I hope that you take this recommendation into account. Yeah. Mileage may vary. I don't know. But another movie coming out same day, Russ. Also, Tuesday the 13th. Not Friday the 13th, but Tuesday the 13th is Friday the 13th. And that's coming out in 4K, Ultra HD from Paramount. And what I've got to imagine is going to be a long line of double dips. I mean, I don't know what other way to say it. I really don't. And I'm going to be upfront. I don't know. I know a decent amount about the Friday the 13th franchise, but I don't know a whole lot about the first one. The main beats I know. I don't know too much about its history or anything else that kind of went on with it.
There's not much more there.
I was going to say, I might lean on you for a little bit.
I mean, Kubrick didn't make this movie, Matt.
I know, it's true. But I did read up a little bit on the history of this movie, just since we were obviously going to talk about it, and that it was released in
I'm here for you. What questions do you have for the original Friday the 13th?
Let me sort of intro it with what I do know and what, some of the information just about its release. And then I'll kind of pose some things to you like, is this why you think it's good? Because I don't really know it that well, but I can tell maybe why people would think it's good. But you tell me if I'm right or wrong.
You don't even know if I think it's good.
I don't know. We're going to find out. We're going to find out. But this is coming out in 4K Ultra HD from Paramount. It was released in 1980 based on the popularity of Halloween. Mm-hmm. And it was directed by this guy named Sean S. Cunningham, who worked previously with Wes Craven on Last House on the Left. Mm-hmm. And from what I read is the writer of this movie, who was not the director, but the writer of this movie was sort of inspired by not only the Halloween concept, but also like comedies like Meatballs, like on like a camp or something to that effect. And how do we like cram those two things together?
I didn't know that. I didn't know Meatballs came into play, but it makes sense.
Maybe
Meatballs
at the time,
78 or 79.
It come out, not that long ago. Originally titled,
I heard him reference Psycho.
Psycho?
Because of the ending.
Okay.
Which I'm sure you know the ending to Friday 13th. Who doesn't know that? It's the mom. There's no Jason in this one.
Okay.
But yeah, it's all Halloween. Sean Cunningham literally took out an ad in the trades.
Yeah.
All he had was a title.
I know, he didn't even have anything written.
And it said something like the most terrifying experience, some hyperbolic statement. And it garnered so much interest and got immediate backing that he was basically, well, shit, we need a script. We need to get this moving.
Did you also read the same thing? That I thought part of that whole thing too was he was like, the initial title was called Long Night at Camp Blood or something. But then he was like,
I didn't know that.
He changed it to Friday the 13th and he was worried. He was like, that's such a good title. Someone else has that out there. Someone else is going to sue us. So let's just throw that out in the newspaper. And if we get calls like, hey, that's our shit, we won't use that name. But I guess no one maybe reached out, or I don't know if that ever materialized. But I thought that was part of why he jumped the gun on
Makes
everything.
sense.
Because he didn't want to lose.
I'm sure it was both what we said. But I never thought about that part of it.
Yeah, and I think you're right. He got a ton of backers as a result of just the image alone, which bravo to whoever put that thing together for him. I don't know if it was him, he created it, or the papers, the papes.
Well, the image, the original Friday the 13th, the font and all that, it didn't look like this.
No.
It didn't look like that, sloppy, it was almost looked like what a lot of, The Entity or something, Michael Mann's. It had that kind of font.
Now, for people that might not know, Russ, do you want to just set it up just for 2 sentences? What is this about?
Camp counselors get killed.
Nice. Murdered one by one.
Yes.
Starring Kevin Bacon.
Yes, his finest performance.
The only person I know, Kevin Bacon, is in this movie. I didn't recognize anyone else. But what I did also read is that the writer and the guy that directed this movie literally said, we don't want anyone big name, as if they could even get anyone, but we don't want anyone big name.
Turned down Meryl Streep.
Yeah. But we just want people that seem likable, seem like they could be camp counselors, and can basically read dialogue. That's it. That's all. We're looking for the bare minimum, essentially, for our actors.
Kevin Bacon raised his hand.
I could do it.
I can get an arrow shot through my neck.
And they need to be working cheap too. I think that was the other part of it. They need to be working cheap.
Yeah.
Was Betsy Palmer the one that plays Jason's mom? Was she
Yes.
somebody before this? Like, was she a standout actress or no?
I mean, just by virtue of her age, she had more credits than anyone involved acting wise.
Got you.
I'm sure she was, but nothing I'm familiar with.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But I'm sure, had the name. It originally was going to be Estelle Parsons. Do you know who she is?
No.
Well, she was in Bonnie and Clyde. She was in Roseanne. She was like the mom.
Oh, okay.
Like Roseanne's mom on the show.
Mom. Yeah.
It was going to be her.
Okay.
I don't know, man. Jump right in. What do you want to... All right, let me say this. Friday the 13th.
First independent film to make a ton of money and to be financed the way that it was. They consider this an independent film. It was,
Nightmare on Elm Street beat it then.
You think so?
4 years later.
So this was...
Because Nightmare on Elm Street was considered that as well. New Line wasn't shit.
Yeah, and I think that's why they considered it that, because there wasn't... I guess they
Halloween
were
was an independent film.
They call that an independent film too?
Yeah.
So $550,000 budget, like $40 million or something like that is what it made. So I guess I don't know if who beat what, but...
Well, let's get it out of the way. The Friday the 13th series is the bastard stepchild of the slasher genre.
Because it started it, but people don't like it.
What's that?
Because it started everything, but people don't like it. Is that what you mean?
It didn't start everything. Halloween started
everything. I'm sorry. I thought you meant the bastard child of this franchise.
Bastard stepchild. No. The entire franchise.
The entire genre.
It doesn't hold a candle to Halloween or Nightmare on Elm Street. And I'll prove it. If you talk to anybody about Halloween or Nightmare on Elm Street, even if you prefer some of the sequels, everyone's always going to say the original is a classic. Dude, the original Friday the 13th, the sequels are better.
Why do you think it was such a smash?
The sequels are better.
At the time it came out.
Because Halloween came out.
Because
it's
people
a cool
just wanted more.
Ass title, and it's a slasher.
So people just wanted more.
And let me get this straight too. This is why Friday the 13th is special. Everything I just said about it was kind of the first movie to do that. And then Friday the 13th kind of started this subgenre of ripoffs, of just camp slashers. You know what I mean? So Friday the 13th, it was innovative in its ripping off of Halloween. It's strange, you know? But like literally, think about everything that's iconic. What is the first thing you think of when you think Friday the 13th? Jason. He's not in this damn thing.
No.
You know? The one shot at the end, which is an amazing jump scare at the end, probably one of the best classic like end stings in any horror movies, when, you know, kid Jason jumps out of the lake and grabs what's her name? Alice.
Yeah.
Pulls her back in. But even that was ripped off from Carrie.
Yeah.
Even the way they shot it, I believe they shot it backwards. I could be wrong on that. I'd have to look that up. I know Carrie, that ending was shot backwards to give it that dreamish, like off feeling. I'm pretty sure they did that in Friday the 13th as well.
I read Tom Savini wanted to do that because he had just watched Carrie.
Yeah, they got Tom Savini, and Tom Savini, at that point, all he would have done was like Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
Or Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead.
Day of the Dead. It wasn't Dawn. I'm pretty sure it was day.
Afternoon.
Dog Day Afternoon. And after that,
Midday of the Dead.
But yeah, Savini.
As long as they don't interrupt my nap.
Like I said, but also everything I'm saying about this sounds very negative. Why it's not negative though, and why it is a classic, there's no cynicism to it.
Yeah.
Like Sean Cunningham, even him talking about it, he's upfront about everything we just said. He doesn't lie. He doesn't pretend like it's anything more than it is. Tom Savini, you have like legends in here doing legendary things. It's just this film, the original Friday the 13th, isn't a great film. Yeah. Whereas you could say Halloween is a great film. You could say Nightmare on Elm Street is a great film, you know? And that's what this has always been. Like I said, it's the bastard stepchild, but I say that lovingly. It is still entertaining.
You still enjoy it.
Great. Yeah.
You still enjoy it.
I bought the Scream Factory set.
Do you think that the ending of this movie is subversive? Do you feel like that they decided, like, do you think it seemed like they tried to make it seem like it was probably Jason was the one doing all the killings and then it turns out to be the mom? Or do you think, was that an earned like twist, do you feel like? Because I've never seen it, so I don't know how it all plays out.
Well, I get what you're asking. For me, I can't really tell you. For me, that's a question. If I was around in 1980, I could answer.
Yeah, because you were not expecting a woman to be the killer.
Well,
maybe,
and even by the point where I could even have the intelligence to answer that question, it had been spoiled for me anyway.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like I knew Jason's mom was the killer probably before I even saw this movie in its entirety. I knew that as a kid.
Yeah, it's like it's the first thing everyone says because Jason's the
like
real villain. So it's like
it's not set up in a sense. It's not like Scream. You're not walking around like it's a whodunit type of thing. Yeah. I mean, you don't know, and there's a lot of point of view shots, just like Halloween and all that. But it's not. Yeah, it's not set up in like that classic sort of mystery sense. It owes more to Halloween than it does, and we know it's Michael Myers.
Yeah.
I guess that doesn't make sense. I mean, it owes more to Halloween in the style of it. So
Yeah,
it's
I
not
hear you.
set up as a, oh my God, who is the killer? It's just more of, shit, we're killing people.
Yeah, and how like are there things to like about this movie? Are there things?
Yeah, I just named a ton. It's not cynical.
It's just
fun.
it's just fun. It's just
Yeah.
more on the fun side.
Yeah.
And any other specific gripes?
It's hard to have gripes.
It's just
about-
like,
all right. Well, all right. I'll say Kevin or not Kevin Bacon.
Let's not gripe on him, Russ.
He's fine.
I'm sure he is.
Betsy Palmer's great in it, and she does. She actually plays this part really well. Her acting is great in this movie because she's both crazy and like she's a mother who cares. Like you can identify with that. It was kind of brilliant. Its way. It's like, oh, you lost your son, and the only reason you lost your son was because nobody was paying attention.
Yeah.
And she has that warm motherly feel, but she in her eyes she has that, hey, this chick's crazy, you know, kind of thing. But you're right. She's not revealed until the end. So you just watched about an hour in some movie to get to her,
To get to that.
to get to the reveal.
What do you think about the score, the music?
Again, iconic, but more people, Halloween's more iconic.
It is.
I hate to keep comparing it to Halloween, but you have to, in my
I mean-
opinion. It was all based on that.
Yeah.
For no Halloween, no Friday the 13th.
I feel like the thing that people
Right down to having an iconic score. It's
Yeah.
like, shit,
Well-
I have to compare it.
Well, people lampoon all the time, or having the just or not, maybe not even lampoon, but
The
parody
score gives away the
whole
movie.
like the whole like that. I feel like is parodied in so many.
Well, do you know what
things.
it's really? It's not Kiki.
It's like it's
Kill
like
Mom.
Kill Mom. I know, and
I just
didn't-
said it spoils the movie.
Yeah, I didn't know that. And the guy that did the score
Yeah.
sang that into the microphone or whatever to get those sounds just right, and then obviously processed it or whatever.
Who is it?
But I think that when I said like iconic, or I just feel like
It is
that's
iconic.
such a trope that noise is now. It's like
And that's what I keep saying. Friday the 13th is such a unique movie because it is iconic, but it's iconic for reasons that most movies you would never call iconic for.
Yeah.
You wouldn't call a film that rips off everything else iconic, but for some reason Friday the 13th is because it was almost, like I said, it was the first to kind of have the balls to just be like, shit, I'm going to pick another day. And I'm going to make a slasher and I'm going to use your point of view shots. I'm going to use, And Cunningham, like you said, I guess had respect. Last House on the Left is a great movie. I wouldn't call Friday the 13th a great movie. Honestly, in the whole series, Part 6 is the best one.
Part 6.
And I'm not alone. It's a fan favorite, and they're right. And they like, for instance, Part 6, the opening, like the opening credits scene, it's James Bond, like the scope and all, but Jason instead. They knew it was comedic. Like they break the fourth wall in this movie. A character talks to the audience. Like,
Nice.
But it's done well. It's done very well, and it's the best Friday the 13th. Part 6, Jason Lives.
Well, you mentioned that there's obviously at least 6 of them, but I think there's, what is it, like 10 total at this point?
I have
mean,
no
so
idea
this
at this point.
So this one obviously is not known for being the best in the series, but it's obviously the thing that kicked it all off. And I think, like, just looking at the history of the movie too, when it debuted in 1980, it debuted at like number 18 behind The Shining, The Fog,
I'm surprised.
Dressed to
actually.
Kill, which we just talked about, which I thought was kind of funny, and one of your favorites, Prom Night.
Wait, you're saying those movies all made more money than Friday
Yes.
the 13th?
In its debut year. This came in number 18.
I am shocked by that.
Number 18. Those ones did better.
I mean, we weren't alive, but I always heard that The Shining kind of had a mixed reception upon release.
It was behind it. Yeah. And what
Prom
tell
Night
me,
did
can
more
you,
than that?
Yep.
Wow.
Can you confirm or deny this, that they wanted a sequel immediately, and which they got in like a year or something. But I guess the MPAA was like, if you're going to do another one of these, we don't want it to be as gory, so that the second one, maybe it's not notoriously, but the second one has much less gore than this one as a result of their meddling. Does that sound correct? Does the second one not so gory?
I don't recall, honestly.
Where can I get answers? Where can I find these answers?
Sounds right now that you say it out loud, but that's not something I ever put together on my own. No.
Okay.
It does sound accurate. Did Savini come back? I'm not even sure he came back.
I don't
for the
know.
second one.
Yeah, I don't know.
So if Savini's not back, then yes, I would say that is a factual statement.
And not only did this movie kick off,
I'm telling you, the first like 2 or 3 of these movies aren't
great.
This
at all.
is the best out of the first like 4. I'd
Really?
say, in my opinion. Yeah.
All right, well, there you go. There's a little nod
It's a
your
good
way,
movie.
Friday the 13th.
It's not shit. I'm probably being way overly critical
You are.
on this
You
film.
are.
It's good.
Sounds like crap.
It's good. It's just, man, you can't talk about this without comparing it to his slasher icon buddies. And when you do that, it's like, damn.
Well, they're not coming out in 4K. This one is. So that's who we're talking about. And this also gave us the video game. One of our favorites. Show it off. Yep. I don't know
one of my favorite video games of all time. Not the new one that came out on the PlayStation Network or whatever.
For anyone that's our age and had a Nintendo and played Friday the 13th and I guess you could even say played it. I don't know if
it played you. You and your friends are dead. Game over.
Like what were you even playing? I don't even know.
God, I honestly loved the game, the NES game more than the movie. I do. It is not only one of my favorite video games of all time, not because of the gameplay. Yeah. I have so many memories of being a child, getting so pissed off at that game. But I also have memories. I'm not kidding you. We talked about iconic scores. The music in the video game to this day scares me.
It's good.
When you go into the cabins in the game, oh my God, it's terrifying.
Yeah,
and if you remember, you hit left or right, and it's Nintendo. So like you go into a different room, there's no movements. And if Jason was in the cabin with you, you just hit left and it goes bam, 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 and he's right there. It's like, oh shit. Like it's scarier than the damn movie. And of course the kill screen.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. We're like 7 years old.
Yeah.
You and your friends are dead.
Nice.
God, I love Nintendo. They got it.
They did. We definitely got played.
They taught Sean Cunningham what to do. That was dumb.
Just to wrap up about its physical media history. So it was first released in DVD, this particular one, 1999, and then Blu in 2009 with an unrated version, which was for the first time ever. And it was only 11 more seconds. That's it. 2011, the uncut version along with 3 of the sequels. So all 4 came on DVD, which was then followed by...
I remember that.
The complete Friday the 13th collection in 2013, and then the Ultimate collection in 2018. Then in 2020... Scream Factory released their beloved box set, which actually has the first 4 movies in a 4K scan. Not like, It's not a 4K disc, but it was sourced from a 4K scan. So you might even be pretty close to what this even is.
Shit, so I basically already have this.
You do. And then Paramount, as we talked before, put their little 8-disc collection in a regular and like a steelbook. And now this has arrived, so let the 4K milking begin. Because we're going to just start seeing these kind of pop out, do you think?
Let me know in the comments. Am I wrong? Of course, Friday the 13th.
Passionate.
Friday the 13th is a classic, but it's a classic because it's like Jason himself. It's a bit
much
slow mentally.
A little waterlogged, I think is what you mean. So anyway,
hey, you forget Sean Cunningham, man. That's your boy, House.
That's right. He produced House, didn't he?
Yep. House 1 and 2.
And he came back to produce some of the Friday the 13th movies.
I'm sure he did.
He did. Jason 10, I think. I'm not sure. But so that's going to be out September 13th for all you fans. But also coming out September 6th, Russ, one of your favorite movies, or at least one of your favorite Brian De Palma movies. Let me rephrase.
It's not even one of my favorite. All I said about
the
Blowout.
Favorite of the fans, and Russ understands why movies.
No, it's considered his best, and I definitely agree. I can see that. Technically, it probably is. It's not my favorite.
I love putting words into your mouth. Only for you to correct
I hate
me.
this fucking movie.
Only for you to correct me 5 seconds later. It's what gives us our panache here.
I talked you into watching it. No, it sucks. It's a terrible film.
So
Travolta.
September 6th, 4K Ultra HD from Criterion, and which has already been released by Criterion on Blu-ray. This is just the same art and everything, which is badass art. I think this looks cool. So this movie was released in 1981. So I was fortunate enough to watch this movie based on Russ's recommendation. So it's fresh in my mind. But I didn't know that it was based on a book that Brian De Palma, from 1961, Brian De Palma borrowed. I don't know if it was in its entirety or just concepts of it, a book called Blow Up, which I think was more to do with not sound effect recording, but photography, I think is what it has to do with. At the time, what was he known for, Russ?
At the time Blowout came out?
Yes.
What was the biggest stuff? Well, Dressed to Kill was the year before.
Dressed to Kill.
More controversial. I guess Carrie would have been his
Yep.
biggest film at this point.
Yep. And then he did Scarface right after this.
Yeah, 83.
Yeah, right after this. That's pretty wild to me that it's like this movie and then Scarface. Like there couldn't be 2 more different films. I feel like in terms of what the movie is. Like, I guess like in the Brian De Palma world of style.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, just like the concepts in
They
general.
look like the same director. I can pick that up.
No, for sure. I just mean like what the movie is.
What they are.
Yeah, it's crazy. So when you recommended this movie to me, you explained it's John Travolta's Nancy Allen, which I saw in the trailer, but I also saw John Lithgow in the trailer, which you did not mention up front. And he's also a pivotal sort of character in this movie, and he's doing his thing.
I know. As soon as I forgot to mention him, and I was like, wait, you're a fan of Dexter. And I was like, hey, he's a psycho again in this. Like, I should have brought that up.
Yep. And do you want to set this up for anyone that might not be aware of what this movie's about?
I want to hear you, because honestly, we haven't. I think we knew we were going to talk about it on here. Mm-hmm. So while I know that you have watched it recently, we haven't really discussed it so much.
No.
So,
well, okay. So it's a movie about John Travolta, who is like a sound effects engineer for what seems to be like really low budget movies, and which I think is, I'll talk about that in a second. I think the whole concept of this movie, I really like. But he accidentally records audio of a supposed like assassination attempt on like a presidential candidate, and the movie just kind of like goes from there. And I guess you explained to me that it's now known as probably Brian De Palma's best in his catalog, maybe in hindsight, but I guess at the time it was critically acclaimed, but it didn't do really anything as far as audience is concerned. But I guess it's increased in its stature over time. Is that what you're saying?
I suppose. I mean, you just Google it. I mean, Tarantino probably said that at one point.
He said it's one of his desert island picks, along with Crystal Skull. So right off the bat, I love this concept of this movie. I thought it was so cool to see just old school filmmaking being done. Like, aside from like what the movie's about, just like the mechanisms at which the plot unfolds with, like the sound recording, how tapes are being spliced together, all this old technology, him viewing the stuff, him, just
that spinning
all
scene is so cool.
That spinning scene, yeah. Just look at this cover, like
that's basically what it is.
Him in this room with all of his recordings and things. It's just such a cool time capsule of a moment where shit is just not done this way anymore, like at all. And I think I said to you, if John Travolta had a cell phone, this movie's 10 minutes long. Like he figures out the whole thing immediately.
That's
like,
every movie.
Exactly. But I mean, that's what made this movie nice and special for me to watch. It's like you're watching a bygone era, but in watching it, it's so interesting and compelling and enthralling, and watching him piece all these things together in a frantic way. Like, I got to run to this guy to help me with this picture, and I got to run over to here. And you're like on the train with them, like solving this mystery in this really cool way. I really like that.
And I think it also has De Palma's sort of trademark melodrama in it.
Yes.
And it's an epic melodrama.
Yeah, it is epic.
And I love it.
It is
I
epic.
love it.
Yeah.
I think that's why it's always considered his best, because it's, like I said, it's what he does in damn near every movie, but it's epic in here. Like, the end of this movie is way more epic than you're probably expecting when you're watching it, like the first hour in. Yep. You're not expecting a car chase scene and during a parade and fireworks and all that. You're not expecting any. I wasn't, and but it's full De Palma, and it's beautiful to look at, man. It
is. Oh, it's shot super well. I mean, there's the
Philly.
Yeah, I was gonna say too. Like, watching this movie, they reference things in Philly that are like being built, that are now built. And it's kind of cool. Like, oh, that's the construction site of what was the Reading Terminal Market or something. It was like, here's the construction zone. That's where like someone's killed in the Reading Terminal construction zone or whatever. I was like, wow.
For those watching or listening, we live outside Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's really.
So that's why we're like, oh god,
yeah. Look at that, Philadelphia. Yuck.
It's big fans.
Yeah, no, but I mean, and you know Brian De Palma more than me, especially films like this. Like, I know Scarface obviously really well, but all the intrigue, the double crossing, like just this, you can't, who can you trust? Like, there's a lot of sleazy characters going on, and they do some slight reveals. And I mean, dare I say, even though I don't want to spoil it, but dare I say that this movie kind of has a down ending, which I don't think that you see as much anymore. Like, you would not see maybe the same ending, and apparently that was my feeling watching it. But then apparently when I was, again, reading a little bit about this, at the time this came out, there was word of mouth about that fact that maybe drew or kind of steered people away, because the ending was like sour a little bit. Which I think the ending is, I mean, it's kind of down, but it's,
wow.
I don't want to call
at that time. I could understand that if it was the late 80s.
Yeah.
But the early 80s, I mean, 70s American films.
Yeah, there was a lot of down
endings back then.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm surprised people were that. Maybe because it's John Travolta.
Yeah, and
maybe it's because this is Mr. Grease, Saturday Night Fever.
True. Yep. And I don't want to besmirch this movie in any way by saying this movie has a down ending and that's bad. It's the way that it ends is not the way that a traditional movie these
it's
days
not a
will
down
end.
ending where like, oh fuck, everybody dies. It's not that.
No,
I know exactly
yeah,
what
it's
you
like
mean.
you're not uplifted at the end by like you don't have like a great feeling. Like this movie is just such a like I don't know, like how do you it's like just in a weird way, like how it all ends up. Like I don't know.
Just no, it is. That's yeah.
Like it's just
Just that's a good way. I'm trying to find another word myself, and I'm like, it's just.
It is.
That is a good way of putting it.
Travolta kicks
that
ass.
hits though. For me, that hits.
It does, and that's why that hit for me too. It was like I like that they took maybe not like you said, maybe not then that wasn't brave or maybe even controversial, but now you don't see movies that have that kind of an ending anymore. Like you just don't. Like I don't know, but like John Travolta, awesome. Nancy Allen, who I've only ever known from RoboCop. I was like, who the hell is this lady? Dude, she's like a beautiful woman. Like when I watch her in RoboCop, she's just the sidekick partner, and that's it.
Don't bullshit me, Matt. You've seen Poltergeist 3.
I have
one
seen
of the
Poltergeist.
greatest
She's
films
got the
of all
same
time.
look in that though too. And
it's the short hair.
It's the short
dude.
hair.
It's the short hair.
She chopped her hair up. She
But
just
see,
looks like a beautiful woman in this.
She is a beautiful
She is
woman. And dude,
I'm
she
a
was
pig.
she was in Carrie. She's in Dressed to Kill. This is like I believe like the 4th movie.
Yeah,
maybe.
and I don't even want to just focus on her
Nicole.
looks because she's amazing
Honestly,
as an
she looks
actress.
better in Dressed to Kill.
She's an amazing actress. I guess I was just shocked by the fact that it was like, wow, this is the RoboCop lady? Like, wow. Like, I was just
I know
what
what you mean, but we're just being totally misogynistic.
I'm a pig. Did you know that Al
Andrew
Pacino
Tate.
was supposed to be John Travolta?
I could see that. I'm glad it wasn't.
He was supposed to be. He was supposed
Oh,
to be.
imagine if we lived in a world where he was in Blowout and Travolta was Scarface.
Scarface.
That would have been great.
Wow. Yeah, wow. And then also with Nancy Allen, she wasn't even almost in this movie because Brian De Palma was like, I don't know if I should keep putting you in my movies. Like, I don't know if I don't want that
I'm
to be
dating
like
you. I don't know.
yeah, right. I don't want that to be the shtick here and be like an issue.
Wow. Hey, Judd Apatow, take notes.
Yeah, exactly. He should.
Rob Zombie, take notes.
Get over it. John Lithgow we mentioned, and not until Dexter and not until Raising Cain, because I did see Raising Cain, and I actually at the time I saw Raising Cain didn't realize it was Brian De Palma, but not until then did I see John Lithgow as a person that could play something really bizarre and twisted, because I've only ever known him as like the Footloose dad and Harry and the Hendersons dad and all these like wholesome things.
Let's go off on an aside here, because I remember when I finally watched Dexter. Remember I told you, I was like, well, season 4 didn't live up. That didn't live up. It was great. But I was like, I wasn't like blown away like you all were. And I always kind of... what the hell's wrong with me today? Can't talk.
Dude,
Terrible
can't talk.
podcast.
Awful.
I always chalked it up to, I didn't watch it as it aired.
Right.
But now that you say that, like I was never in love with Footloose as a kid. I did love Harry and the Hendersons.
Yeah.
But I also loved this movie called Ricochet.
Yeah.
And John Lithgow is a psycho. He's fucking insane.
So you already know him as that.
So I already kind of in my mind always saw him as like, oh, he's dark.
Yeah.
So I'm never as...
I mean, when John Lithgow looks at his wife at the Thanksgiving dinner table and says, "Shut up, cunt," like I about fucking my mouth dropped. Like,
why'd you just ruin one of our movie clips? I was gonna throw it in here.
Like, holy shit. John Lithgow dropped the bomb at the Thanksgiving table.
But like, all right, well, in the movie Ricochet, I'm talking about.
Changes.
Do you want to hear a quote from the movie Ricochet? I'm talking about. He says,
"Roll it."
Hold on. Yeah, I'm gonna have to grab it because I'm gonna fumble it. Not verbatim, but he basically says something about. I wish I remember the exact line. He said, I use your wife's pubic hair as floss. It's like some line like
Twisted
that.
shit.
Yeah, that's just Yeah, dude, it's he's sick.
Sicko.
Cancel him. He's too good at being a psycho. I don't buy it. I don't buy that he's acting.
No, he was awesome in it. He was really good in it. And the other thing that I want to talk about, I'm sure you could talk about more because
Third Rock from the Sun.
Well, yeah, dude, that too. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that was it jingling around in my brain too at the time.
I never saw that show. So
Yeah.
again, I think I had a good 50-50 growing up with Lithgow.
Yeah, for sure. And watching Raising Cain, I even felt weird. I was like, God, this isn't how I want my John Lithgow. Let's talk about just the direction for a second, because I know you're a huge fan of Brian De Palma, and I only know a little, and you mentioned to me before I watched this that all of his signature moves are on display. So I was really interested to see this and see a master at work.
Well,
basically.
not only signature moves in the sense of how he directs. I'm just talking about like the recording aspect. Dressed to Kill has a big recording aspect to it. A lot of themes, like you said, like maybe like conspiracy type things, or someone's in on it, someone's not. I mean, he riffs on Hitchcock a lot, and this is a movie that probably doesn't riff on Hitchcock as much as Dressed to Kill or Sisters.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just this movie kind of has all the mishmashings of every other De Palma movie in it in a way, and it's before Scarface, so there's nothing kind of like Scarface. Although you could say that in Scarface too. There's plenty of stuff.
And it was weird. Once you said that to me, like it's got all that in it, I didn't even need to, because it is very apparent, like the moves that he makes and the different styles he chooses. I was almost counting like, oh, that's a thing. Oh, this is a thing that he does. Or I can tell that this is a thing, whether it's the soft focus, the split screen.
Yeah.
That thing that I couldn't explain to you what it was called, but I looked it up. It's called the split diopter effect, where
The Jaws thing?
Yeah, it's like where they're no. It's where he takes like a half of like a camera lens over top, so like someone seems far away and someone seems close.
Yes.
He does that a bunch of times, and I've seen that in other movies.
I was about to say, yeah, keep going.
Well, I was going to say I've seen that in other movies, and I was curious after watching this and seeing him do that. I was like, wow, did he start doing that? Is he the one that started that?
I don't know this.
I don't know, but
I thought you were going to blow my mind.
He uses it.
He pioneered that technique.
He uses it a ton. I don't know who's used it before, but I've seen it. A lot of movies after this, like Batman Returns. That's one I think I said to you. Like, there's a scene where Penguin's like writing down notes, and Catwoman comes up the steps, and he's close and she's far, and he's soft and she's not. It's exactly what happens in here a bunch of times. Like you said, that spinning scene. It took me like a second to get that this hadn't stopped or cut yet, and I was like, "Whoa, what's happening?" And then I was like getting dizzy watching it.
But it's beautiful too, because I mean, subconsciously, it's showing you how erratic John Travolta is in that moment, trying to piece all the shit together, because it keeps going faster and faster and faster, and you're in his mindset.
Yeah. Definitely.
It's brilliant.
It is.
He's just an underrated director. It's because of the movies he made that people never gave him his due. They're always lurid. But I love that he never changed. He just kept doing fucking lurid movies. That's just what he was into. That's why he's one of the GOATs.
Here's a fun fact. 70% of this movie was shot at night. And the cinematographer, who I think had something to do with the transfer here, had kind of mentioned, I usually do a lot of diffusion. I usually do a lot of stuff that, will kind of make things look brighter even at nighttime. But for this, I wanted a seedy vibe, and I just like shot it straight up, like in the darkness, like at night. And that's kind of like what you got. So I feel like that's kind of cool, because a lot of it is at night. Like you said, Philadelphia, like there's some seedy motels and some like seedy construction areas and everything. Kind of like you were mentioning about New York.
At night.
It's like it kind of the shit.
Yeah, I thought about that. The goddamn parade at night.
It is. It's all at night. 70%. So just to conclude, I guess, with this movie in terms of its history, it was considered a failure at the time. It only made $13 million on an $18 million budget. Although here's what critics said about it: they called it intelligent filmmaking that you're included in, not a passive viewer. And as soon as I read that quote, I was like, 100%, because that's how I felt.
That's a great quote,
dude. I literally every step of the way was I with John Travolta. Like they put you in his shoes almost, like right away.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because you're figuring it out as he is.
Yeah.
He's the one investigating. He's the one keeping it going, and you're in his shoes. He is your humble narrator.
Yep.
I mean, not literal. It doesn't have any voiceover shit in it.
Yeah, no. But, and you mentioned, Brian De Palma, who went on to do a bunch of other stuff like Scarface, Body Double, The Untouchables, Casualties of War, and, of course, Carlito's Way.
After this, you mean?
After this, yeah. Following this up. And Raising Cain.
After that.
Where are you at with this? I was going to say, where are you stopping with him?
I like all those movies you just named. I stop at Carlito's Way. To this day.
Oh, okay. So up to that point.
Yeah, because I've never seen Mission Impossible.
Sure, yeah.
And I pretty much, dude, I don't think I've seen any movie he made after. I was always interested in Femme Fatale, but I never sat down and watched it. No. And you know why? I'm scared. After like Mission to Mars and shit like that, I'm just scared. And it's like, let me remember you
a different way.
It's like the great filmmaker. But then I also think people were always against him, honestly. Dressed to Kill, people were picketing that damn movie.
Yeah. He's a provocateur.
He is. Yeah, I'd say so. Maybe the critics are being too harsh on those movies. Maybe I should. But I'm scared. I just don't want to be disappointed. I don't know. Somebody recommend me a great De Palma film post Mission Impossible, and I will check that out.
Well, I have this. I did not end up picking this up at the time of the sale. I watched this movie, and I don't know. It was a movie that I really, really liked a lot. And then I don't know if I talked myself out of it, but it was kind of a thing where I was like, I don't know if I need to buy that exactly. But then upon sort of thinking about it more and kind of preparing for this and even having this conversation, I really feel like it is a movie that I would love.
Honestly, we're sitting here talking. I'm like, I might watch this tonight.
I mean, dude, that's the thing.
Been a little while.
I'm sitting here thinking like, God, I wish I could watch this now. Like, I want to rewatch this already.
It's
It
great.
is, dude. It is. It's really, really good. And there isn't any screenshots of it, but from the couple of reviews I read, because there is some reviews available of this movie in 4K, apparently it's like a knockout. Apparently it takes it just upgrades entirely everything that Criterion had done before in terms of how it looks and how they just make certain the presentation how it looks, I guess.
You know what my
incredible.
opinion is now? I think Criterion and Kino are like
They got it figured out.
4K.
Yeah, I mean,
Dude, that Menace to Society 4K.
They figured it out.
I could not believe how good that looked.
Yeah.
Looked like it was shot yesterday, man.
yeah, no, they figured it out.
So
for sure.
I'm very excited to see how this turns out.
Yeah. Well, it's out September 6th from Criterion. And so just to wrap up, Russ, one of our favorite segments, but the people's favorite segments, are recommendations of the week.
Ah, you got 2 foreign films for us?
Do I have another
I
two
brought
pack of foreign
3
films?
with me this week, man.
I've only got one this week, Russ.
Sure you don't want to include
I've only
the
got
sequel?
one. Well, because I know that people are loving these segments so much, the last time I was like, you know what?
Just showcase your whole shelf.
I'm just going to give them 2 instead of 1. You know, these things are garnering outrageous views. So I got to give the people what they want. So now we're back with some more picks of the week. Do you want to go first this week, Russ, or shall I go first?
Sure. Do you want to let the viewers and listeners know what our theme is?
So we have a theme this week.
Just so it's not as jarring as it has been previously with, Hands on a Hard Body, House 2. We decided to do themes for our recommendations. Yep. And we're going to begin with...
Yeah, we're going to begin with mystery.
Mystery.
And what we'd like to do is when we do our picks of the week is share the theme and share what we picked. And then maybe you let us know below what your favorite maybe mystery movie or whatever category that we're going in. Let us know what some of your favorites are, and maybe it's something that we've seen or haven't seen we can check out as well. But Russ's mystery, you going first?
I am. I decided to go with, you might say I'm cheating. Everyone considers this one of the greatest mystery films of all time.
Tell us what it is.
So that is 1982/1983's Pieces.
Wow. Did you say classic? I wasn't sure. Did you mention that?
Do you have to say classic? I'm pretty sure everyone knows that.
I don't know
when you hear Pieces.
I don't know that I've ever actually seen that release in person. You've played this movie for me, but that looks like a nice release.
This is the release I brought over. I
like it.
I didn't bring over the slipcase when you saw it. Come on, we're collectors. We're collectors. I'm not trying to damage these slips. And honestly, this one has already been damaged a little bit. Here, go ahead and take a look at it.
Oh, thanks, Russ.
For the uninitiated. Well, first off,
It's nice, dude. That the chainsaw's like poking out on the box.
Lenticular.
It's like it's embossed.
What made me decide to go with this classic mystery is the day we are filming. This is the 40th anniversary of Pieces' North American release. I believe it originally came out in 1982, but in North America it was 83.
Okay.
For the uninitiated, you open with a boy and his mother. The boy's putting together a jigsaw puzzle. Murders his mother.
I spoke too soon.
Okay. Then he hides in the closet. Police arrive, all that. They don't believe he did it. They think he's a victim as well, but he's the one who killed his mother. Cut to 40 years later, we're at a college, and some grisly murders are occurring, and we need to get to the bottom of who is doing this. And what we know is that this killer, he's taking body parts, hacking them up in a puzzle-like fashion to create a woman, basically.
I like it.
Mysterious.
Very mysterious. What woman is he building?
I'm not going to spoil it.
Oh, that's a spoiler. Okay, I didn't know where the line
No,
was
let's
drawn.
spoil it. All right, well, the last scene of the movie, this woman he's putting together grabs the main character's genitals and he screams and the credits roll. Your move, Spielberg.
I love that. I love that ending.
Nah. All right, what I love about this movie, clearly this didn't win any Oscars, but it's so fucking bizarre. And I think what makes it bizarre, it's definitely a slasher film, but it has giallo elements to it. One of the writers was not American, he's European, and I think that's where it comes in. But what's so interesting, I think what makes this movie so special and work is that it kind of fails as a giallo and as a slasher. And it just
work at all.
And it just becomes a comedy. And goddamn is it funny. I mean,
I laughed at it.
Dude, come on. The what does he say? The karate instructor?
No.
When he's walking out, he gets attacked with and they literally, the producers just knew a Bruce Lee impersonator and were like, how do we get this guy in the movie? And if you've seen the scene, we should clip to it. It's hysterical. One of the best readings of any dialogue that has ever existed in any film ever. Yes, even Heat.
Even Heat.
Is Linda Day George when she is just frustrated and she has to let everyone know that they are bastards. Bastards! And it is...
Oh my God.
Really tugs at your heartstrings, man. I mean,
yeah.
it's one of those kind of movies.
Quality acting.
I'll give you another little...
Give me another one.
A little known fact about Pieces. Do you recall the scene when they start playing the girl runs into the locker room and she pisses herself? Do you remember this scene?
I remember that scene.
Pivotal point in the movie.
Pisses herself.
That's real urine. That wasn't scripted or anything. That actress actually just pissed herself because they scared her while filming. They kept it in.
Wow.
Kind of like Leo and Django Unchained.
They kept it in.
Yeah, they kept it in. That's the kind of artistry we're working with here.
That's definitely some artistry. They're dealing with urine.
All right, but me mocking the film aside, I genuinely enjoy the hell out of this movie.
Yeah, tell the people why you like it.
It's hilarious. It is hilarious. I love slashers. I wouldn't say I love giallos, but I'm a bigger fan than most people. And like I said, it's elements of those both. It is absurd. It is laugh out loud funny. Not like it's so bad you're going to chuckle. I mean, they're like punchlines. It's like it is a full-blown comedy. The main grizzled detective dude, his voice, everything. This is just magic. Magic. Right down to the ending I spoiled. I don't even care if... how do you spoil... I could spoil that ending. Tell you, yeah, inexplicably, a person made up of pieces comes to life for no reason. This isn't explained. And grabs the main character's dick. He screams, the credits roll. That's not a spoiler. That is an advertisement. I am watching that movie immediately. I'm telling you, if you told me, I don't know, if you told me Independence Day ended that way.
You'd been all over it.
Shit, grab Jeff Goldblum's nuts and like I would have.
And I guess I'm assuming that this movie, outside of your love for it,
you've seen it,
has some genuine love, underground cult love.
It's a cult classic.
I mean, look at this release. This thing, I love it.
Comes with the soundtrack.
I was about to say.
And I've listened to this.
So there's a warning on here that says, due to its shocking and violent subject matter, no one under 17 should view this film. It says at the top, it's exactly what you think it is.
And that's astounding. It was a video nasty in the UK, and you've seen this movie. Of course, it's tasteless. But I mean, who is going to watch this movie and seriously either be scared, impacted horrifically, or what I guess the video nasty censorship board would suggest, motivated to recreate this movie? I don't know.
Three disc deluxe edition and the soundtrack CD.
Yeah. And I like the soundtrack.
2 complete versions of this shocking gore classic. And it's all embossed. This is a nice ass release.
Yeah.
The back's
Well, when
embossed.
it first came out, I don't have the initial release that Grindhouse Releasing put out. It was that, but it came with an actual like jigsaw puzzle thing too, which I do not have. I just have that. But
well, 40th anniversary. I actually saw, Arrow had posted that about its 40th anniversary, and I asked them straight up, "Where's the 4K at?" I haven't heard back, but I'm sure they're thinking about it. They're trying to decide.
Like
if
I
they
said,
want to release that to the public.
I believe Arrow released it in the UK.
Yeah,
we got to double check. I was saying that to you earlier, but
I saw this movie, Russ. You showed this to me, and again, it was. I probably picked up on this faster than I picked up on other ones that you've shown, where it's like, "Hey, just watch this movie," just like take it for what it is. And I'm like, "Is this serious? Like, what am I looking at?" So I feel like if I went into it like ready to laugh, I probably would have enjoyed it more. But it's definitely
pieces.
I mean, definitely
it was
I laughed.
82 slasher. 100% going into this.
I don't know. You didn't explain it at all.
I think that's the difference and why I have such an affinity for films like this. It's like you got to go in. You know what you're going to get. And it's more about the execution and the personality. That's what you fall in love with. Dude, I'm sorry. Bastards. You will remember that for the rest of your life.
As soon as I started watching it, I realized, but it was just one of those things I wasn't prepared for. And I mean, I do think it's funny. 83 minutes.
Dude,
Wow, you're in and out on this one.
Dude, Biz 45 is only an hour and 22.
Nice.
I think
They
that's
knew
a
how to
theme.
do it. I
That's
know.
a theme in my recommendations.
Dude.
You can knock my recommendations out during a lunch break.
The older we get, it's like, where's that movie that's like 74 minutes long? I'm just watching short films from now on.
I know. I'm going to start recommending infomercials.
20-minute documentaries.
The behind the scenes on Blowout's incredible.
That's all I got time for.
I mean, honestly, what are your thoughts of this film? You said you weren't ready for it.
I wasn't ready for it.
Now
It's
that you
ridiculous.
are initiated,
Oh, yeah.
now that you've seen it and you can tell what it is, in hindsight,
Yeah.
do you find it enjoyable?
It was, and it was fun, and I liked the low budget nature of it. Like when all the gore's happening,
it's got
and like
the soft focus look that a lot of
the chainsawing that's going on, people like blood spraying places. It's obviously
Silly.
it's silly. But yeah, it works. It does work, and they're actually genuine laugh out loud moments that I definitely laughed out loud at.
And kind of like like I said, Friday the 13th, you could say this too, but I mean, the comedic elements and all that, the ends did not justify the means for it to become a good movie.
Yeah.
But damn, the ends turned it into a great comedy.
Yeah.
And now I'm not mad at that. I'm glad that comedy exists. And actually, for a slasher film, there's worse. There's plenty worse movies I've seen than Pieces. If
Friday
you're
the
going to
13th?
watch them as a literal, what do I like better, Pieces or the original Friday the 13th?
This, I'm sure you would say. Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, I'd say that.
Yeah.
I'd put Pieces above the original Friday the 13th. That's a hell of a statement. So if you guys are big Friday the 13th fans and haven't seen Pieces, you're missing out.
And this is no longer for sale. This
I think it is, honestly.
this
It might not
it's
come
nice.
with the slip anymore, but
I like how big the box is. I love when they do that shit.
yeah. Grindhouse releasing, they're good, dude. I have this. I have what is it? Cannibal Ferox or Ferox? I don't even know how to say that damn title.
I'm sure I even
The movie's awesome, but dude, all right. If you don't believe me, even further, Balloon Chaz from the Gore Score gave it a perfect 10.
Perfect 10.
So if you trust the balloon,
Balloon, that's his name? Balloon?
I'm pronouncing that correctly, aren't I?
Oh, let's see. Where's it at?
It says a perfect 10.
A perfect 10.
Balloon. Oh, is that the guy who did?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, that's the guy who did the soundtrack on Real Genius.
Chaz Balloon. That's Chaz Jankel, you son of a bitch.
Chaz Jankel?
Chaz Jankel. Is that him? Chaz Balloon?
He goes by many names. She, they, fuck. Anyway, what do you have, Matt?
So you're recommending this to the fans, Russ? You're recommending this to anyone that wants to laugh at
I would
home?
recommend Pieces to anyone. Because even if their reaction is negative, it just makes me love it more and it's even funnier. So yes. Oh, damn. That sounded bad. Not you good people.
Not you good
I
people.
was talking about casual film fans.
Yes.
Yeah, like if you drop this on someone unsuspectingly, it's always a beautiful reaction.
And can we also mention that this is Italian, right? But it's dubbed. What's the deal with it?
Yeah, it was something weird like that.
Because it's
was
dubbed.
shot-
It's completely dubbed, right?
It is dubbed, and it's dubbed terribly.
That's why it's also kind of
which
funny.
is great. 'Cause,
Yes.
Yeah, and I think some of the actors were speaking Spanish, maybe.
Yeah, that's a
or-
different. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not U.S. made, right?
no, it was. Some
Was
of it
it?
was. A lot of it was filmed in Massachusetts. I
Really?
believe.
Oh, for some reason I thought this was completely foreign.
And Linda Day George, she's not. She's American.
Of Pieces fame, Linda Day
Yes.
George,
Oh, she's her and her husband are in this movie. Her husband plays
Chaz Balloon.
Yes, her husband did the soundtrack to Real Genius. Okay.
So
What do you? What mystery movie could top Pieces, Matt? I'm excited to hear what you have because let's face it, Pieces won.
Pieces won this round. Yeah. So the mystery movie that I went with this week, Russ, is a movie that is also near and dear to my heart. Not for those same reasons, but for similar reasons. And it's a movie called Secret in Their Eyes.
Julia Roberts is great in this.
Not the horrendous bastardized 2015 remake
Bastard.
with Julia Roberts and Chiwetel Ejiofor. I don't even know how to say his name. Let's forget that even existed.
Chaz Balloon.
So this movie right here is a great mystery. It was released in 2009, and the only reason that I know about it is because it won like Oscar for Best Foreign Film in 2009, I believe it was. But I found out about that on, let's see who remembers this out there, a website called DVD Talk. Do you guys remember DVD Talk? Did you go on DVD Talk? big ass blue logo, huge DVD
Yeah.
talk, and it did movie reviews, Blu-ray reviews, and there was a lot of columns, different like contributors, people that were writing, like the sci-fi column, the horror column. It was no frills, but I went there for news all the time.
Basically, what they're doing now is what we'll be doing in 10 years.
Yes, failing in our own little website. But this is how I found this movie at any rate. And they were going on about what a great movie that it was and that it had just won. And I was kind of, no kids. So I could watch anything whenever I wanted to watch it. So I was like, oh, friggin' nice. So I downloaded it and I watched it like right away. So just to set this up before I go into why I like it, and I know Russ, you've seen this too. This is about a retired. This is an Argentinian film, first of all, so this is foreign, but it is. So I don't know if they're police officers. I think they have a different name. They're called like justices or something. Yeah, I don't know. But he's retired. A retired police officer is writing basically his memoirs or a book, kind of like a story. It might be a little bit fictional about a case that he had 20 years before that was basically unresolved, and it's also kind of interwoven with sort of this love that he had from afar for his superior, who was also one of his partners in kind of trying to solve this mystery, a female that worked in the office. He was kind of like, had a thing for her, kind of looked at her from afar, but it was never realized. So he's kind of looking back on that as well. And it's kind of like haunting him to the point where now he is feeling like, okay, I'm writing this book. I think I want to try to resolve this. I think I want to try to, now that I'm older and I'm like kind of looking back on it, I want to try to solve this thing once and for all. So it kind of bounces back and forth between the time he's writing about to give you that like context of the case that he was working on and, why it was so, terrible and sort of this love that he almost maybe or couldn't have at the time with her. And then it's kind of cut with present day where he's now still talking with the same woman who he still kind of has this awkward relationship with, still has these feelings for that they just haven't said. And at the time she also sort of had these feelings, but she never said. It was just something that could never be.
Unrequited love.
Exactly. And that's a major element of this story as well, which I think is why one of the reasons why this movie is so great is that it balances this unrequited love story that feels very real and very compelling with an incredible mystery that is also just as compelling and real. So you're kind of bouncing in between these two themes of, like him and this woman who are obviously attracted, but they're trying to solve this thing together. And sometimes it's put on hold, sometimes it's not. And so you kind of have this sweetness to it, with this longingness to it, while also dealing with a pretty heinous mystery. It's not like something simple and easy. It's kind of a heinous crime, which is why it's haunted him for so long.
And to add on what you're saying, I think both of those aspects of it, the love and the actual mystery element, they're both done so strongly. They could be their own films themselves.
Yeah, and
they could be their own films themselves.
Right.
If you just focused on one of those, it could have been that.
Yep.
But the execution is expertly done.
It is. It was very enthralling. It's great pacing. You're, like I said, you're bouncing between the past and the future. There's the acting is so good. There's even some really
that
great
guy, man.
Yeah.
I only saw it once, and it's been a couple years. I saw it through you.
Yeah.
And I remember that main dude. He was really good.
No, he was. He's awesome.
Don't know his name. I apologize, but yeah, he was excellent in this film.
No, he is. He's really good in it. And even some of the cinematography, including one specific set piece that they do in the movie, which involves like a continuous take that starts off like as an aerial shot, takes you into a soccer stadium or a football stadium, as they would call it there, that, ends up in like a chase scene that ends up in, just this camera following them all the way through the stadium until it makes its way out to the field. And it's all done in one shot, and it's done in such an expert manner that it's just, some of the stuff that goes on in this movie is just gripping. Aside from, again, the mystery itself, it's a little tough to watch sometimes. The subject matter of it, like you said, could stand alone as its own thrilling, compelling mystery, but there's this love element that is also just tugging at you this whole time, and that's also, I feel like that's also very prevalent in the entire movie, because you've got, the movie, the crime takes place or is in regards to a young woman that gets raped and murdered, and the husband of this woman is like out for, vengeance, and he's trying to figure out who did this, and he wants to, get his justice or whatever. But there's that longingness, there. And there's this, just this whole feeling of everyone's haunted by something. Everyone's like looking for closure on something, like, and no one's kind of getting it. And this whole movie is, are these people going to get this closure that they've been after for however many years across the police officers and the family members? So it's just really, I don't know, I keep saying compelling. I don't know what else to say. It's gripping. It really is.
It is.
The title itself, I feel like, is kind of a cool little thing. It's like baked into the plot. The secret in their eyes, they refer to that often, and that's a huge theme. It's like, even when words can't be said or things can't be said, you can tell things by a glance, by like a looking in someone's eyes and seeing how they really feel, whether it's love or hatred. Like there's a lot that kind of plays into, which I think is kind of a cool element. And just to kind of say, because sometimes I worry when it comes to mysteries or even films in general, like how does it end? Is it satisfying? This movie ends expertly. The conclusion is excellent. It's satisfying on all fronts. And I mean, dare I say this is a perfect movie? Like, I don't know. Like,
it's not Heat.
It's not Heat. It's definitely not Heat. And I honestly struggle to find flaws with this movie. And that's a bold statement, I know. But there's just, even from like the villain who, this mystery, so to speak, is solved, but it's not, it's kind of like brushed under the rug, where the people who, or the real killer that is thought to be the real killer has kind of been at large. No one knows what happened to him, but he's out there and they're trying to find out, he is even like a compelling, scary sort of character. Mm-hmm. I don't know, but when you do you feel like this is a perfect movie? Is there anything that you feel like is a little lacking?
No, I agree with everything you said. Unfortunately, it's just all based on memory. I saw it once.
Yeah.
I remember thinking everything you just said. I agree completely. I remember ranking it very high. Yeah. I think I gave it like a 4.5 out of 5 at the time, and I did pick it up. It was really cheap.
Yeah, I remember, nothing good has come of this. I really wish someone would pick
that's
this
the same edition, and I remember looking it up, and I was like, "Wow, it's only like $7. That was a great movie. Yeah. Hell yeah!" So it's probably that same price for anybody watching.
Yeah,
but I didn't revisit it since I bought it.
You should.
Yeah, I should. I definitely should. I remember it being great.
And just looking at this box, I'm reminded too, like I didn't even really mention the main female lead who, like there's two main leads, the man and the woman, who are kind of like caught up in this thing.
Younger.
Yeah, and she's incredible. It's incredibly done. Like the acting is wonderful. She's, a great counterpart to him, and there's even like a third sort of side character who's his partner, who's really just there for comedic relief. He's kind of like just makes jokes kind of the whole time, which again gives this movie a little bit of lightness that it needs, because it is very heavy, but you get a breather from it every once in a while. But when it's going full force, it's incredible movie, incredible thing to watch. So I can't recommend this movie enough. The Secret in Their Eyes. So Russ, I think that's all we got for this week. Anything else you got for the people?
Man, I watched Collateral last night.
What'd you think?
It's good, still good, but man, the music choices in that movie baffle me. They are crazy, and I'm totally just saying this for that one guy listening. I'm on a goddamn mission to destroy Michael Mann now.
For Michael Mann.
Nah, Collateral, it was good.
Yeah.
But yeah, the music choices, and I'm not even talking about Audio Slave. I'm talking about, like, it's just bizarre.
Weird, like, guitar.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And you ever notice, I thought about this after watching Collateral. Michael Mann, it seems like all of his characters are living, like, in a decade before. Like, even the way some of these people are dressed in Collateral, I'm like...
Conducting themselves.
Dude, the way your boy Mark Ruffalo looks in this, like, he just walked out of the 80s.
I didn't even recognize him.
He didn't. I don't know. But, like, and even in Heat, I was thinking about Jon Voight's glorious mullet. Fuck, that is the best movie of decades now that I think about it. Just due to Voight's mullet.
It's a good mullet.
It is. I feel like in both those movies, they just seem, that's what they would have looked like in 10 years before that happened. Like,
Michael Mann's caught in the past.
It's like, they could have been guest stars on Miami Vice.
The future keeps on moving, but he's staying right where he's at. Like, that's it. These are the wardrobe choices.
Nah, it's a solid flick, though.
Well, I saw Videodrome, and I loved it, and I had already pre-ordered it. I'm not canceling that pre-order.
I believe people in the comments were even saying, Matt, just fucking watch it.
I know, I saw it. I loved it. I don't want to say too much because I want to talk about it thoroughly once it comes in the mail, once we release it.
Did you order it?
I got it.
Which edition?
Original art.
I got the
Blondie art.
Yeah.
You should bring it when you get yours. We'll compare the two.
We'll compare,
yeah.
Like I said, I'm a big fan of Blondie. So
cool. Yeah, I mean, I thought she was great in that too, and I like the little posters that are coming in both. I think they both look cool. But yeah, so that's it. Thank you, everybody, again, for listening, for watching, for checking us out on YouTube, Spotify, everywhere possible, liking, commenting, subscribing. everything that you do to support us. Again, thank you for all the wonderful comments that you've been leaving. We really appreciate it.
Sincerely.
And we will see you next time.